Welcome in to Stacking the Box, live from Radio Row right here in Las Vegas. I would say sunny Las Vegas, but I would be lying. It's been a little bit of a rain-soaked week already. Sterling Holmes, my guy Malcom over here. Malcom, how are you?
I'm awesome, Sterling.
I will say last night was very entertaining. That media party, they had a little bit of everything there. Great food from all over the world. They had a nice little second floor with some really cool old Vegas.
Yeah.
And the third floor was almost like a New York art gallery. I guess a Las Vegas art gallery, if you will. Very modern, but it really took you from old Vegas to new and everything in between. What was your favorite part?
Just Jabberwockies performing last night, getting to see all the different foods that from the Lunar New Year and everything, Sterling. It was just a lot of fun, a lot of drinks, all the media presence there last night. It was a tremendous time last night.
Yeah, I will say we'll be joined by Fletcher Cox in about 8 minutes or so. We got a huge schedule. Jalin Hyatt, receiver from the Giants. Shannon Sharp coming around 9 o'clock. Derek Brooks, one of my favorite linebackers of all time. Growing up, Derek Brooks was a hero of mine. I loved watching him play. Nate Boyer and a whole lot more coming your way right here on Stacking the Box. Again, going back to last night, though, man, that was really, really fun. I want to give a huge shout out to the city of Las Vegas hosting a great media party. This is my first time in Vegas, first time on Radio Row, first time covering a Super Bowl. No idea what to expect, right? And you get out there, and it's just it's glorious, man. Was that the Grand Prix? Where they set the Grand Prix up?
Yes, it was at the Grand Prix, Sterling. Man, I'm telling you that you were able to get your photo with all the different cars, and they had a go-kart racing last night. I mean, you get to play on go-karts and things like that.
Did you hop on that?
I hopped on it last night. It was a lot of fun. They had zip lining last night as well.
Wait, where was the zip line?
No, there wasn't no zip line.
Oh, okay.
I thought there was, but there wasn't.
Malcom, you got me excited for a second. As a zip line aficionado,
yeah.
I got pretty excited there. Man, but yeah, again, great stuff here coming to you live from Las Vegas. A little early morning. Are you a morning person, Malcom?
Well, Sterling, to be honest with you, yes, in a way, because I get up for work early too, because I work at Public, so I'm used to having to be up early. So.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you make the best subs ever. Pub subs, dude.
Yeah, we made the best pub subs, and Pubs is a great place to work. I've been there for 2 years, and gonna be 3 years in September. So it's gonna be really. I'm really excited to, I'm hyped up for all these interviews today. I'm gonna bring that positive energy today, and looking forward to it.
Who's one of your favorite people we're talking to this morning? Who are you looking forward to maybe the most? We won't tell him. We won't tell him.
No. I mean, I'm looking forward to all of it. There's not really one in particular I could pick from. So I'm just looking forward to every single one of them. So.
Again, Fletcher Cox will be joining us. Surely going to talk to him a lot. Obviously, he spent his entire career in Philly. I think I have to bring up the fact that because of Fletcher, he was on that Super Bowl winning team. Right. I lived in Philly. First year I moved there, they won the Super Bowl. I did get a crush of beer. Allegedly. Come on now. Allegedly, I crushed a beer at City Hall in Philadelphia. Woo. Allegedly. I did see, man, those fans, they get after it. I'm not going to lie. Like, Chiefs fans, I think we're a little more responsible. Like, I think we're pretty rowdy too, right?
Right.
But we're a little more responsible. Eagles fans, but Buffalo Bills fans, there's no regard.
Niners fans, you could say Niners fans as well too.
How are Niners fans? Are they more reserved? Are they pretty pretty wild too?
I would say the Niners are are more wild a little bit too. They're not up there with like the Eagles or Chiefs, Seahawks. Seahawks, they have a lot. 12th man up in Seattle. They're very raucous and loud. It's a very tough place to get a win on the road as a team in the NFL. So. You could say Seattle's up there too.
Yeah. What's funny is just being here again, just on Radio Row, you'll see a lot of former players walking by.
Yeah.
And it's wild to see how big they are. Like Cam Newton walked by earlier today, this morning when I was walking down, and you're just taken aback that you're like, that is a starting quarterback. That's not a defensive lineman. That's not a linebacker. I know he's one of the bigger quarterbacks, obviously, who played in NFL history.
Right.
But when you watch him, how can a man that size move the way he did?
Right.
And it makes me also very glad I never had to tackle him. Wouldn't go well for me.
No, it wouldn't, sir. No, it wouldn't.
Malcom, you're supposed to hype me up, say maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Sir. Go for the legs.
Yeah.
Go for the legs. What's been your favorite part of Vegas so far, Malcom?
Honestly, Sterling, I mean, it's only been, 3 days? We're 3 days in, so I would just have to say the media part was my favorite part last night, honestly, and then opening night on Monday night was awesome as well, and so I would have to say those have been my 2 favorite parts so far up to this point.
Yeah, I'll say what's not my favorite part, and that is the roulette table. As Hunter knows, he was the responsible guy. Everyone went to bed, and I go, you know what? I'm in Vegas. I'm hitting the roulette table. 3 times on black, 3 straight losses. And I realized that's on me. Okay, that's on me. I'm a Chiefs guy. I cover the Chiefs a lot, right?
Right.
Should have put it on red. What am I doing here? Right. But if you guys want to bet and do better than me, make sure you sign up for Caesar Sportsbook. Make sure you get your first bet with them for the big game. New customers will get a second chance. Bet up to $1,000 when signing up with our promo code ARROW1000. That means if your first bet loses, you will get your full wager returned as a bonus bet up to $1,000. Caesars offers daily profit boosts as well as Caesars rewards credits on every wager, which can be redeemed for bonuses, sports tickets, and other VIP experiences. Signing up with our code ARROW1000 not only covers your first bet, but also gets you access to their fantastic rewards program. If you're looking to join Caesars Sportsbook, go download the app and register with our promo code ARROW1000 and make sure your first bet is covered. This offer is only available to new customers who are 21 plus and physically present in legal gambling states. Please remember to always gamble responsibly. Check the episode description for the full terms of the offer to see if you qualify. Good time. Great time. Fletcher Cox joining us right now.
Fletcher Cox joining us right now.
Yes, sir. What's going on? How y'all doing?
Awesome, Fletcher.
Great.
Good. I'm doing good. Doing good, man. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, and I will say, huge shout out to Tide. Life is as busy as it gets during the season, and Tide is there to help you out. Talk about your little sponsorship, what you're doing here with Tide.
Well, we all know earlier, right before training camp, I had the opportunity to do obviously a commercial with them and, a big sponsorship with Tide. And obviously the commercial is fun. It's about tackling, obviously in the pile. It don't matter if it's tackle pod, tackling, the pile in your house, keeping everything clean. And, and that relationship has grown. So I'm here today, like I said, on behalf of Todd, and still happy to support him.
Awesome. Malcom, you got it here.
Thanks, Sterling. So, Fletcher, you played in Philadelphia your whole career. Tell me why Eagle fans are so crazy. What gets them fired up? Just talk about that for a moment.
I wouldn't say crazy, but I would use the word more passionate, right?
Yeah.
They're passionate about their sports. They love all of their sports teams, whether it's hockey, baseball, basketball, the Eagles. And the best thing about Philly, about the Eagles and our fans is if you've ever been to Philly, all the stadiums are right there, right? So it just makes it that much more better. And that's the part that, our fans are really, really passionate about it.
I will say I lived in Philly for 3 years. First year I moved there, y'all won the Super Bowl, so I want to say thank you for letting me celebrate down there. Had a fun little
Appreciate
story.
It.
I allegedly drank a beer at City Hall because of you guys. So thank you for that one.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, little few Philly questions here. Favorite cheesesteak?
Man, there's a few. I mean, I normally go to Ishkabibbles.
Ishkabibbles is the spot right there on South. Yeah.
Pastor Gino's.
Oh man. I mean, but they're both good.
Yeah.
But our tourists, most tourists, that's all they know about is Passaginos.
Mm-hmm.
A place that everybody forget is Angelo's. Jim's. Obviously, Jim's had a big fire, so I think they may be up back and going, but I doubt it. So you got the couple good spots. You got to kind of go, into South Street and a couple rough spots to get a good cheesesteak.
What have you seen out of Jalin Carter this season, Fletcher? What's impressed you most about him?
I mean, he's special, right? We all know how athletic he is. We know the kid is obviously, I wouldn't say kid, but young man. He's obviously he's got the talent to be really, really good. He just, it's just all young guys. I was a young guy before, and still putting it together, right? He's still figuring things out. Still learning how to be a pro, and those things showed up later in the season. You saw him around the building taking care of himself and doing the right things to become a pro.
Obviously, it's very difficult when you go to a Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl, but just getting there. There's 3 extra games, 4 extra games. It adds a lot to your season, right? What is it like when you try and bounce back the next year? How much of a toll does that actually take? It's
no easy task at all because, you still have to, win or lose, right? I've been on both sides, and, I've been on the winning side where, that following season we weren't so good, but we still made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. We made it to the divisional round. We fought and stretched our way back in. And then, like I said, I've been on the losing side where last year we lost, and we start the season 10-1. Things kind of not they didn't go the way we thought it would. But it could go either way, and I was just happy to be a part of both sides now, and so. Never want to be on the losing side again, and you appreciate getting there because it's hard.
Yeah.
What has Jason Kelce meant to Philadelphia? As a whole, to the city, and to the franchise for the Eagles. Like, what has he meant to you guys?
I mean, I think he could probably run for the mayor of Philly right now. He'd probably get voted right in. That's what he's mean to that city.
Throws on a mummer's outfit, right?
Yeah, I think he could run for the mayor tomorrow or today. It don't matter. On any day that ends in Y, I promise you, he probably get elected mayor. But Kelce just means so much. I've been with him, obviously my 12 years. In playing in Philly, and the biggest thing about him is the way he respects the game. We both respect the game. We both try to play the game the right way, and that's going out and just giving it your all, and then the respect and leadership that we have from each other, for each other, and things like that goes a long way.
What does the future hold for you personally? What are expectations next year? Yeah,
Here you go.
Coming.
Here you go.
There you go.
If you don't want to, I get it.
Nah, man, just taking it day by day. No decisions have been made for me, and I'm just taking it day by day, and wherever it falls. So I'm just taking it day by day, and and definitely happy to be playing in Philly this year. It was definitely fun.
Yeah.
All right, Fletcher, I got another one for you. You did high jump and the 4x100 meter relay in high school.
Athlete.
Did we miss the Fletcher Cox as a running back experience?
I never had that experience. I was on a 4x1 team. I was fast too. I was the second leg, so there you go. I did a little high jump. Those sports just keep me busy, man. But obviously, keep me busy during the springtime because I didn't play baseball. Right. I played football, basketball, and ran track. So those are my 3 things. And we definitely didn't miss me toting the rock. So I play O-line, D-line, and some situations, I'll get a tight end and do some blocking. But that's about it, man. That's it for me.
What is it like seeing Javon Hargrave, obviously a former teammate right now, in this Super Bowl? A lot of love for it, is a little bit of
No, it's all love. It's all love. Javon was a guy that he's a guy that I respect a lot. We grew together, right? We made each other better in practice every day, and didn't matter what it was. I bounced ideas off him. He bounced ideas off me, and that made us both better. When going into game day, and I'm happy for him, and hopefully, like I said, it's his second time going in 2 years.
Yeah.
You got to be, excited about that. But I'm hoping he can pull a win off and get him a ring.
Are the Kelly Greens the best alternates in the NFL, Fletcher, in your mind?
I'm gonna go top 3. There's some nice ones out there. The Kelly Green is really, really nice, but the alternates was really nice. I got a bunch of respect for Tennessee's. Theirs was nice.
Yeah.
I think Seattle's was nice. I think they alternate was nice.
Those got to be permanent. Those are phenomenal.
Those are phenomenal. No question.
So it was a couple teams out there that their alternate. Detroit, their alternates was nice. So I can keep going, but like I said, they all look good, and hopefully the NFL can keep that going.
You Whiskey Myers guy?
I am a Whiskey Myers guy. Yeah,
That's awesome.
John is my guy. Yeah.
That's all. I just saw him in concert not that long ago in Kansas City.
Yeah, John is my guy. So,
that's really cool.
Yep.
I know you're also an avid hunter, obviously. But what's the what do you got? What have you brought back before? Any fun hunting stories?
I think the hunt I remember is about 3 years ago. I went out to Sonora, Mexico, and shot it was a hunt of a lifetime. It was there's a bighorn sheep, and it's hard hunting.
Yeah.
It's patience, which I got the patience of probably a 2-year-old. Right? That too. And it all paid off though. The patience paid off. and it was fun. I got to go up and way into the mountains to get the trophy, and obviously we had outfitters and stuff with us to carry it down, because I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I carried it down. I'm no tough guy, but yeah, it was fun.
You're like, nah, man, that's not me.
The guys that carried that thing down was way smaller than I was, but it was like 6 of them.
Yeah.
But it was fun though.
That's awesome.
Before we let you go, Fletcher, I want to ask you, outside of Mahomes and Purdy, give me an X factor who was a key for the game on Sunday.
I got to go with my fellow Mississippi State D lineman, Chris Jones. Now Hell State, go Dogs! Come on.
Nice.
Who do you have winning?
Hey, man. I don't get into all that. I just, obviously I want my boy Hargrave to win, but you got to pull for the Home State guys, Chris Jones and Willie Gay and those guys. So, I definitely wish Hargrave a lot of luck and he pull a win now, but definitely got to pull for my the Mississippi State guys.
What is this 2-week stretch like for players? Because it's obviously a lot different than the regular season. It's not just a bye. You're traveling to a new place. Like, you're seeing the 49ers are having to play at UNLV. Like, it's a lot different. What is this like for a player?
Adapting. It's adapting to different situations, right? No matter what kind of situations you get put in, you got to adapt to it. And, in doing this deal, you have to adapt, like, really quick. So I think that the biggest thing is it's not a bye week, but the thing you look at is you get some really some key guys some time to kind of get healthy. Guys that may have got banged up and, later in the season that's playing through a few things that kind of give them time to heal up. And but then, you still have to keep that mindset of, hey, I still got a game next week that's really important.
You've been a leader, obviously, on the defensive line in Philly for a long time. A lot of great players have come, a lot of great players have gone, but you've been the constant. What does it feel like knowing that you've been the leader, the anchor on that great defensive line for so long?
Man, it's an honor, right? It's always honor, and you appreciate it, right? You take advantage of those opportunities that I've had to be a leader for an organization for a really long time, for a decade plus, and you appreciate everybody in the building. You appreciate your the coaches, players, janitors, anybody that work in the cafeteria. It doesn't matter who you are, equipment staff, training staff, it don't matter. And you appreciate that, and that stuff like that goes a long way, and that's probably the reason why they probably kept me around for a long time, because I appreciate and respect everybody in the building. It don't matter who you are.
Yeah. As far as Nick Sirianni goes, he's obviously a little bit unique. He's a little different. Do you have any Nick Sirianni stories as far as what he is different from the previous coaches you've had?
He just, he's the coaches. Most coaches I have are all player coaches, right? And you respect that.
Sure.
And sometimes Nick could be a little different. He carries himself a little different. He carries himself, in a way that I'm a player, so I like the way that he carries himself.
Yeah.
He carries himself with confidence, with swag. And believing in his team. He want to go out and dominate. Every single week. It don't matter who we're playing, and sometimes you get hit in the mouth, but his next message is always, hey, you're gonna get hit in the mouth, but you got to respond, and his message is always how do we get better as a team, individually, and and as an organization.
Awesome.
Did you have a favorite defensive tackle growing up?
Man, there's a few I watch. You know what I'm saying? If there's a couple guys I watch. Obviously I watch Warren Sapp. Obviously I like him. A lot of my pass rush stuff comes from watching him from watching him a whole lot. He was my guy. And then like as I was young in the league, I still watched a lot of the guys that were still younger guys like Gerald McCoy, guys like Sue, and those guys. Obviously they were before me, and they were dominating. And you have to appreciate, because you got to look at it, those guys played a lot of ball too.
Yeah. Fletcher, really do appreciate your time. One more time, what do you got rocking with Tide?
Man, just rocking everything with Tide, man. On the field, off the field, tackling piles of laundry. Obviously, as busy as I am, Tide make it easy for me.
Hey, I'm a Tide guy too.
Hey.
Just so you know, I'm a Tide guy.
You should be.
Yeah. Fletcher, really appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time, Fletcher. Thanks so much.
That's always fun, man. Again, anytime you can have a guy who helps you drink a beer in City Hall in Philly, you gotta be happy for him. Makes me happy. Well, I should have had beer for you here then. We could have crushed. See, that's my fault. That's on me. I didn't bring the beers. See? I'm going to blame Richard a little bit for not bringing the beers. He's nodding his head and he can't defend himself because he does not have a mic. So I'm blaming Richard just a little bit.
Just a tad.
Just a tad, right? I mean, what are the boozing laws? I've not seen a single beer here in Radio Row. I feel like we would be the first. I feel like we might get kicked out. I think it would also be on brand, but it does feel like some of the former players at least might enjoy it, right? A flask at least. I think a flask might be the move. All right, Fletcher Cox, again, current defensive lineman for the Eagles. Again, I asked about his future, what it holds, and that was, he knew it was coming, and the answer was day by day. We'll see.
I loved his response. When I asked him about an X factor outside of Holmes and Purdy, he said Chris Jones is going to be the X factor for the game on Sunday with the Chiefs and Niners. Yeah,
and that's crazy that his Mississippi State Bulldog right there, Chris Jones. It's tough. You got Hargrave, your former teammate,
right?
Then you got Chris Jones on the other side.
Exactly.
And it's not like it's a wide receiver.
No.
It's not like a guy you don't see very often.
Right.
Both on the defensive line.
It's one of those players, between the in the trenches, that's going to get it done.
Yeah. Again, that was a lot of fun talking with Fletcher Cox, man. I'm always been a huge fan. He has been the anchor of those Eagles defenses for a long time. It's true, man. There's been a lot of moving parts. Guys come in, guys come out, but they've always been consistently good. And I think a big part of that is because he has been there. His leadership has been a big reason why. I did find it interesting. He was rocking that Whiskey Myers sweatshirt. So I had to ask. I'm a huge fan of Whiskey Myers. Whiskey Myers is one of my, honestly, favorite musicians. That band is very talented. And it was cool.
Was that the first time, you've seen Whiskey Myers?
I have seen them maybe twice now, twice now. And I saw them a couple months ago out there in Kansas City. They put on just a phenomenal show.
Nice.
So I was intrigued to see, what do these former players listen to? What do they like?
Yeah.
Whiskey Myers, little Southern rock. Again, Mississippi guy. It's got to be Southern rock.
Yeah, it has to be. Absolutely.
All right here, a couple questions on the chats. Live up to the AA name and bring the beer. Sterling would have plenty of Arrow Red Lager handy for these guys. That's true.
Yeah.
As Richard spreads butter on a bagel? Is that butter on a bagel? That's not cream cheese, is it? That's cream cheese.
It's cream cheese.
I'm not going to lie, I'm a little jealous. David says, go Chiefs. Let's get number 2 of a three-peat. Hey, man. David, I'm with you, but let's pump the brakes a little bit. They got to get number 2 before you get 3. Don't put the cart before the horse.
Yeah, don't count the chickens before they hatch.
Any more good idioms do you think we can come up with for that or no?
I think that's enough.
That's enough idioms?
That's enough idioms there, Sterling. That should be good enough.
Jesus Perez says Coco Crisp, as in the former center fielder?
Correct.
I appreciate the love for Coco Crisp in the chat, but I'm a little befuddled by that one. We are trying to get Coco Crisp? Oh, Hunter, don't play with me, okay? This is literally Anchorman. You put something in front, you tell me something, I'm going to say it, okay? Keep it PG-13.
Yeah.
And then one here from Phantom says, asked Fletcher Cox about how the field conditions affect play. Phantom, I wasn't going to ask that.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to try and stir the pot. He's a very large man.
Yeah.
Fletcher is.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to have him get upset with me and ask about.
No, I'm not going to try to ask that either. Like, I'm trying to
not trying to get,
Yeah.
Not trying to upset the man.
Right, not trying to upset,
Again, we will be joined by Jalin Hyatt.
Not trying to poke the bear, You know what they say, don't poke the bear,
Which I think Niners fans kind of did
opening
night in regards to poking Travis and Mahomes.
Right, exactly.
No, Hunter, they weren't just supposed to cheer, but you poke the bear. It's petty Pat.
Yeah.
It's what happens.
Right.
Hey, keep it down from the peanut
gallery
over
there.
Which is 4 feet away from me as you eat a delicious bagel. Yeah, Malcolm and I are eyeing those bad boys.
Yeah,
I know
we are. We're looking at them.
You want me to eat on air, Hunter? It'd be Bad News Bears. I'm good right now, thank you. I do appreciate it. Jake, it says, Blazer is clean. Sterling, don't worry, baby. It's full suit. Full suit. Yeah. I would show you more, but I got to charge for that. I also am rocking the roulette cufflinks.
Nice.
Roulette. Since we're in Vegas, Malcolm, I thought that was a good omen.
I'm digging.
You can play him too. Look, you can play.
Yeah, I'm digging it.
You throw it around. Black or red? What do you think?
I'm going red.
I don't see what that is. What is that? Black or red?
That looks like red to me.
That's a winner.
Yeah,
that's a winner. Go Chiefs.
Dinner.
Just like last night.
Yep.
Comes up red, and just like last night, I lost. I lost.
It's all good. It's all good, sir. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
All right, going and looking ahead at the game coming up on Sunday. We've talked a little bit about this, obviously.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a little intrigued just talking after with Fletcher Cox what the defensive line's going to do.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at the 49ers, obviously Nick Bosa.
Right.
You have Javon Hargrave. You have Eric Armstead. You have
Trey Greenlaw.
You have Dre Greenlaw. You have Chase Young. And with Chase Young, I think he's going to be the X factor. Now, I've talked to a good amount of Niners media, Niners fans, and the majority of the time I ask who is going to be the X factor, the answer comes back.
And what have the majority of the Niners faithful upset to you about that?
Chase Young. And a lot of people have seen, there's a specific play where Chase Young just frankly looks like he is, he ain't trying out there. Specific play where it looks like he gives up, and
Right.
we're sitting here going, all right, you're in a contract year.
Yeah.
You want to get this large contract. You're a very talented player.
Right.
But are you only here for sacks?
Are you living up to that contract?
And so, again, this is a small sample size.
Right.
But the Niners folk I have talked to have all said, if he is engaged, he is going to be the X factor, because we know how the Chiefs operate.
Right.
They're going to be doubling Bosa. They're not going to let Nick Bosa beat them.
Right.
The last time they played, it was into Round City. It was, we will run away from you.
Yeah.
We'll run at you so you can't get any sacks. We
Right.
will do everything possible to make sure Bosa doesn't have an impact, which means someone else on that defensive line is going to have to step up.
Is going to have to step up for either both the Niners and Chiefs.
Yeah.
Do you think Chris Jones is going to have a field day getting after Purdy, or you don't think that, or you don't think so?
That is a great question. My concern with that, again, I hope he does.
Right.
But my concern is a little bit like I don't think Nick Bosa is going to have a great game. Not that he's not a phenomenal player, but because of the fact that they're going to try and scheme him out,
Right.
I think the Niners will try to scheme Chris Jones out.
Out.
They are going to, now again, if you are a defensive lineman, you have the opportunity to try and move around.
Right.
You can try and move around from defensive tackle to defensive end. You can switch around just a little bit, right?
Right.
But when it comes down to it, when you look at Chris Jones, with no Charles Omenihu, the 49ers offensive line will be keyed in on him. You're not going to put him over Trent Williams on the outside. You can go to the other side. You might have a little bit of success, but then you also might see the right guard pulling there as well to give a little help.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll see a little bit of chips with George Kittle. But no, I think Karlaftis, more than anything else, is going to have to be the guy on the Chiefs' defensive line that steps up. We have a awesome Special Olympics football here. I kind of want to throw it. Are you a football? Did you ever play football? You a football guy?
I love football.
What position?
If I had to play a position, I would play the running back position.
Oh man,
You're
strong.
I would love to run between the tackles.
Oh,
and
yeah.
try to figure out what defense what kind of defense is being played. Either they're trying to play zone or they're trying to play cover zero, or they're going to try and stack the box. And my job is going to be to try to, run block as well and try to get open as much as I can. If I get open, I'm dashing to the end zone.
You're speaking like you're Derrick Henry out here.
Yeah, I am. I'm Derrick Henry.
I'm trucking guys,
I'm
stiff arm central.
Yep. I'm Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm Isaiah Pacheco.
Current Clyde, where he's gained a little
Clyde.
bit. He's Eddie Lacy Clyde.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm the exact opposite. I am going to be a wide receiver who never gets hit. Put me as remember Ted Ginn? Anyone else remember Ted Ginn?
Yep.
Did that guy ever get hit hard? No, he never did.
Really.
He was always he was very electric, but he would never get hit. He would never get hit. Yeah, but a punt returner who never got hit hard. He would always make you miss.
Right.
So I'll go that, because if I take one hit, Malcom, I'm done, dude.
As a wide receiver, how many catches would you have, Sterling? That'd be my thing there.
I got decent hands. Hands aren't the issue.
Right.
It's the whole getting open situation.
Right.
Right now, with the blisters on my feet from walking the strip,
Right.
none, zero. You could put who could you? A sumo wrestler
Right.
would lock me down right now.
Exactly.
Have you seen My 600-Pound Life? That show ever?
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
on
those
TLC.
people. Those people are locking me down right now. I ain't moving.
If I was running back, I would have 25 carries. I would have over 300 yards.
Wow.
I would have 4
Historic.
touchdowns.
Historic.
Yeah, I would be most valuable player.
The confidence from Malcom. Can I have some? Like, can I just?
I'll spread my confidence towards you, Sterling. How's that?
Thank you, Malcom. That's what I need right now. I mean, I will say, without confidence, all we have is our good looks.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. All right. A couple of questions to get to from Jesus. My favorite place to eat on Las Vegas Strip is Hot and Juicy. You can buy a pound of shrimp for $25 again on the Strip. I'm not sure if I want to eat at a place called Hot and Juicy in Vegas. I'm a little nervous by that, Jesus. Also, I'm not a shrimp guy. I'm sorry. I appreciate it, but I like your next comment, Antonio Gates, good hands. I like Antonio Gates. That's a good call. You could be Antonio Gates. That's nails. Amy says, go Chiefs. Cody says, any restaurants you've been to so far? We have in Mandalay Bay, right? I've been to, we went to Cabo Wabo. I went to
How was
Cabo
that?
Wabo. Good. Sammy Hagar's restaurant. It was fun. Had some margaritas. Not a margarita guy, but they were pretty good. The reason why you don't like margaritas is the next day. Let's be real now. It's the sweetness, it's the salt. I have high cholesterol.
Was
man.
there a meal you had, Sterling?
A meal. I thought we were talking about drinks. Yeah, I had a meal. It was actually
What-
very good.
Yeah, what meal was it?
I had some tacos.
Nice.
They were corn tortillas, but they were fried corn tortillas. Very good.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice. Now, I don't know if you know who Sammy Hagar is. He was in Van Halen, right?
Yeah.
The band Van Halen, like Panama,
Yep.
Hot for Teacher.
Yep.
I love Van Halen. But David Lee Roth was the original singer.
Right.
And I was nervous that if Sammy Hagar came, I had to lie and say, you know what, Sammy, I actually like your version of Van Halen better. I'd be lying, of course. But, I got to try and pump him up.
Got to have that energy, of course.
Yeah. Both had good solo careers. But, yeah, Cabo Wabo was fun. Your favorite restaurant? Have you been to anyone's around here?
My favorite would have to be In-N-Out.
Yeah,
In-N-Out Burger. I love In-N-Out Burger. It's dynamic. The burgers are just juicy, flame broiled, everything, top notch. That would be my favorite Las Vegas restaurant.
Yeah, you're right, man. No, honestly, and the price is nails. If you walk around Vegas, In-N-Out's a good deal.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. The producers over here, Richard and Hunter, said no to me getting In-N-Out the other day. In fairness, I was gonna miss a bus, and I was gonna have to walk more on blistered feet. So they were smart. Woozy Guy asked, any fangirling over anyone that's walked by the table that you aren't interviewing? Not yet. It's a little early for that yet, I think.
Still kind of early on in the game.
Still early. Yeah. If I see Jim Rome, you will see me. If anyone's seen Wayne's World, Wayne's World, the whole we're not worthy, we suck thing. That's going to be me with Jim Rome, I think.
Wayne's World was a great movie back in the 90s with Dana Carvey and Mike Myers.
Yeah, great movie. Great movie. Yeah, one of my favorite. They're all asking you, Malcom, animal fries. I think they all agree with you, too. They're all saying, In-N-Out's a good spot here.
Yeah.
Animal fries? Animal style, I mean?
Yeah, animal style, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would have to go something gamey, something like a rhino or something like that, something like that.
You know what? I think I'd agree with you, Malcom.
Yeah, some like rhino.
I think I'd agree with you.
Yeah, something gamey, something chewy and gamey. That's how I look. That's how I like my my type of animal.
Again, Sterling Holmes here with Malcom. We are here unified with fan-sided and Special Olympics. Man, it is a It's a fun time here on Radio Row.
It is.
Everything's starting to pick up.
It's been wonderful so far, and we're just getting started.
Just getting started. Jalin Hyatt again at 8:45. Shannon Sharp at 9 o'clock. Derek Brooks, 9:15. Nate Boyer, 9:30. Puka Nacua, 9:45.
And Michael Penix at 10.
Michael Penix at 10. Where do you think Michael Penix is? Where's he landing?
Ooh, if I had to say where Michael Penix Jr. is going to land, it has to be a team that that he'll start in a couple of years or right away, where he could just get his feet in, learn from the starting quarterback that's already there on that team. If I had to say a team, I would have to say Carolina. The Panthers would
They just drafted Bryce Young, though.
Right, but he'll be drafted by Carolina. He'll learn behind Bryce Young. Coach Dave Canales, will develop him in a couple of years. Bryce Young is already a starter, but if Bryce Young struggles, maybe Michael Penix Jr. Can step in right away and actually lead the Panthers, back to respectability. Do I see him making a playoff run? Nah, because it's a couple of years.
Malcolm, this is bold, by the way.
Yeah,
this is a bold take.
I'm being bold because I don't think Carolina is that team that's going to make a playoff run this upcoming season. So it's going to be at least a couple of years.
Yeah.
Give or take. With developing Bryce Young and getting his feet comfortable and setting his feet, and just being able to make that throw. He's so small, and the thing that Bryce Young has to learn to do is just set his feet when he's making those plays. Set your feet and be able to throw the ball down the field.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think what we really need, though, is Richard to stand in front of the screen. Yeah, he's looking around. His shirt is electric right now.
Richard's shirt is.
His shirt looks like the third floor of the media party last night, and I can't even describe it. It looks like if.
It's amazing.
I can't even describe it. I'm at a loss for words. He's telling me to move on. He doesn't want me to talk about his shirt anymore. He gets a little nervous, I think. No? You don't want to talk about it, Richard? It's great radio.
It's great radio, though.
We're waiting for Jalin Hyatt.
Yeah, we're waiting for Jalin Hyatt.
We're waiting for Jalin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, he's coming.
He's coming.
He's coming. This is about to be strong. Everyone buckle in.
Fasten your seatbelts.
Look at that. That is glorious. What even is it?
Look at that. Rich is just styling and profiling with the shirt.
I mean, that's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Do you always hit on 16 on the tables? No, it depends, and I always lose. I would not take any betting advice from me. That is not what I'm here for. If you take betting advice from me, you shouldn't do it. But what you should do is go to Caesars. Just go to Caesars, download the app, and use our code. It is in the description. That is what you should do. Also, Jalin Hyatt's brought to us by World of Hyatt. What a great sponsor.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, just the last name combo.
I'll ask you the same question you asked me, Sterling. Where does Michael Penix go in your mind?
Oh man.
If okay, you're in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
And you were in that draft room with Michael Penix. Where would Michael Penix go in your mind?
Ooh, that's a good question. Mid first round's probably where he's getting drafted, right? I think he was a top 10 guy, and then you saw that game in the national championship game.
Yeah,
and,
against Michigan.
And it was a struggle, man. I mean, and it was, but he looked great the previous game against Texas, and dropping the bucket. When you watch that game against Michigan, I feel bad, but I wonder how much that is going to drop his stock. Now, I don't think it's going to drop his stock a ton.
Right.
It's one game sample size, but I do think there might be a couple of teams that say, we saw that against top echelon competition. Can he do that in the NFL? So
which team would you would you say he would land?
That's I think the Raiders are a decent landing spot depending on where they view Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah.
Now, Aiden O'Connell had a fine year last year.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe the Raiders are trying to build around Aiden.
Right.
You're looking around a couple of the other teams right now. I think Seattle's probably sticking with Geno Smith another
right.
year, but if you want, again, a guy who can go to a team to learn, and again, I think that's the best way of doing it. We saw it with Patrick Mahomes. You've seen it throughout. I mean, look at Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Allowing Jordan Love to sit behind Rodgers sitting behind Favre. I mean, I think sometimes guys get put into bad situations early in their career. They're forced to start, and then all of a sudden they completely lose all sort of confidence, and it just snowballs from there. So I think if Michael Penix can go to a spot where he can learn a year, that might be best for him and his career going forward. So I think a team like Seattle, learning behind Geno for a year, might be a good spot.
That's not a bad segue at all. I actually like that. You know, like I said with Carolina. I mean, I know Bryce Young is already starter, but you know, if you can draft Michael Penix, if you're Carolina, you know, you learn behind Bryce Young for a year or two. Dave Canales can develop him. Once he develops him, he can also just get feet wet.
All right, now a couple questions here on the chat. Let's see here. Have you guys gone to the top of the Paris Eiffel Tower in Vegas? No, I have not, but I have heard a few Elvis impersonators. One was incredible last night, and one was sad. One was sad. Yeah, another good point from Sean here. Brady sitting behind Bledsoe. You know, another reason why you sit a quarterback behind a starter for a year or two, just to, again, get your feet wet, learn the intricacies. Because, again, in college, this is what I've always been told.
Mm-hmm.
In college, defenses aren't trying to necessarily trick you.
Right.
Because the defensive players themselves, they're not going to have the same schemes that Spagnuolo is drawing up, right?
Right.
I talked to Nick Bolton, obviously, on opening night, and what he brought up was, you know, you learn a lot in college, but then you get to the NFL, and you're like, oh, it's way different. You know, Spags is putting you in all different spots. You're not playing all three linebacker spots. You're moving around. You are trying to trick the quarterback. College is a little bit different.
Right.
And so when you're looking at quarterbacks, I think sitting a year helps, because then now you are learning, what are these defenses trying to do to me? What have I now seen? Now, again, you've also seen some great successes. Peyton Manning started and he threw, 26 interceptions his first year as a rookie?
Yeah,
right?
With the Colts.
But would he get a second chance now? Maybe not. I mean, maybe not. Now teams, if you throw 26 interceptions as a rookie, they're going to call you a bum. They're going to say you're done. They're going to move on from you. So again, I think it's a little bit of a case of, you know, times have changed, but also learning behind a guy for a year is best case scenario.
I'll give you another example, Sterling. How about Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees? Because remember, when Phillip Rivers was with the Chargers, Drew Brees had to learn from Phillip Rivers for at least a year. And look at what Drew Brees was able to do. I mean, he started at, you know, when Phillip Rivers decided to move on from the Chargers, he gave the reins to Drew Brees, and Drew Brees excelled with the Chargers, and then Drew Brees decided to go to Saints, and he became a Super Bowl champion, and look at what Drew Brees is up to now, you know, post-retirement now.
Yeah, I mean, very good point there.
Yeah.
You a big Drew Brees guy? Because I was.
I love Drew Brees. He was a phenomenal quarterback.
Drew Brees is coming by tomorrow? Here? We're talking with Drew Brees tomorrow.
Yep.
You mean I get to talk, Hunter, and we love doing this on this show. Yeah, we love doing this on our show. It's a little bit of a bit where you look off screen.
Yeah.
Like it's like you talk to, you know, the people off screen. But we're talking to Drew Brees tomorrow. I just found out, and I am thrilled. One of my favorite quarterbacks of all time.
One of my faves, too.
Growing up. I want to also ask him, does he see a little bit of his game in Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
Because everyone keeps trying to compare Joe Burrow to other guys. It's what we do in today's day and age. Fair or unfair, you always try and find a guy and say, he plays like him.
Yeah.
He plays like this. I've always said I see a lot of Drew Brees in Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Right? Drew Brees didn't have the strongest arm.
Right.
He was not the most mobile quarterback.
Right.
But what did he do? Extremely accurate.
Absolutely.
Put the ball in great places for his receivers to make a play. He trusted his guys.
Right.
I want to see if Drew Brees believes that he sees a little of himself in Joe.
What I want to ask you, Sterling, also, Brock Purdy. Who does he remind you a lot of? I mean, like, speaking,
Good question.
Who does Brock Purdy remind you of? Like,
I think the easy answer that everyone's going to think of is Alex Smith, and I think it's unfair. I don't like that comparison. I think Alex Smith had a little more raw talent, maybe.
Right.
That's a really good question. I don't have a guy off the top of my head because Brock Purdy, I think, is a little more mobile than he gets credit for. Like, again, I'm not saying he's Josh Allen or Holmes by any means.
Right.
I don't think he's one of those two guys. But Brock Purdy, if he needs to run, he can get you a little bit. Now it's not Daniel Jones. I don't have maybe a little bit of a Geno Smith in Brock Purdy.
Does he kind of remind you of Joe Burrow, maybe? In a sense?
Maybe a little, but I think Joe Burrow, again, has a lot more raw talent.
Right.
But I think you can make the case that you can see some similarities. Both great processors, right?
Yeah.
Both guys that when you see them, again, not the strongest arm, but they both do something that I think is very underrated.
Absolutely.
They put the ball in the correct spot for the receivers to get big plays after the catch. And you look at a lot of and again, some of that comes from the receivers, but look at the ADOT, average depth of target.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy is the leader. You look at Yak. Look at what Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk can do. He puts the ball not behind guys. He puts the ball in placements so the receivers can make a play and continue to make the same play.
Right.
So I think Brock Purdy, again, and Joe Burrow have a lot of those similarities. I think that's a very good point there, Malcolm.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Rivers and Eli were swapped in draft day trade in 03. Eli wanted that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah, I remember. I remember Eli getting
didn't want to go to San Diego. Who doesn't want to go to San Diego? Who does not want to go to the beach? Sorry.
Yeah.
That weather, are you kidding me? New York or San Diego? I mean, I think it worked out for Eli. He got 2 rings, and Phillip Rivers.
If I had to choose out of New York or San Diego, I would choose San Diego. It's just ideal, and the beaches, and just you get to see a lot of what San Diego has to offer. And for 56 years, the Chargers were in San Diego, and then they moved to LA and became the LA Chargers. And now they share the same stadium with the Rams. How funny is that? I mean, how wild is that?
If I'm being honest, I hated when the Chargers moved. Okay? Now, I think there's always going to be a period where you are upset.
Right.
You are going to dislike when a team moves because it's not the norm anymore. I think a lot of times as human beings, we are resistant to change.
Right.
Okay? And so I was not a fan of that one, and quite frankly, I'm still not a fan of that one. I think San Diego was a much better spot. I think them in L.A. There's so many teams in L.A. They don't have that fan base there.
I get you.
But what I will say here about the Raiders in Vegas, I was a big proponent of disliking them moving to Vegas from Oakland. I thought Oakland was a great fan base, and I still feel for Oakland fans.
Yeah.
But now that I've experienced Allegiant, now that I've experienced Vegas a little bit more, there is a very large Raider fan base here. There's a very real feel of the Chiefs-Raiders rivalry alive and well. I didn't know how that was going to be with the move. And I'll be the first to admit, I was very outspoken against this move because I thought it was going to almost have the rivalry deteriorate just a little bit.
And the rivalry won't have that same intensity like it has been over the years.
And what I'm seeing and understanding now is it's alive and well. I mean, you've talked to the Raiders players. I've talked to Aiden O'Connell, Jacoby Myers already. That rivalry is alive and well. We talked to Max Crosby before this week. Rivalry is alive and well. You see the Chiefs flag allegedly under the Allegiant Stadium. Rivalry is alive and well. So I'm sitting back going, you know what? While change is always going to have some pushback at the beginning, I'm starting to understand a little bit more of why the Raiders moved from Oakland to Vegas.
What about the Rams? Were you a proponent of them when they moved from St. Louis to LA? Did
No,
you like that?
I was not a fan of that.
Either?
Sorry, Kroenke. As a Mizzou guy, I appreciate you. But as a fan of football in the NFL, I'm not a big fan of that. I thought the Rams had a very good fan base. They had a very good team. Now I get it. They were in LA before. I understand this, right? Like
Right.
I get that.
Right.
But I'm sitting back going, they had a great fan base. I didn't think it was done the right way. When the Rams moved, I did not think it was done the right way. Almost to an extent what the Oakland Athletics are doing. They
Yeah.
almost forced their way out. If you've been to the stadium, not great. That turf is not ideal. Mizzou played a football game this year, obviously, and it's been a few years since obviously the NFL teams played there. But they did not have the upkeep, and because of that, it's a big reason why they moved. And so no, I was not a fan of that move.
Right.
All right, question here from Brett. Brett says, is Brock Purdy as effective in 2023 in an offense that is not the 49ers? Now, Brett, I don't disagree with that premise, and that's one that I've made a couple times in regards to him being the MVP. But what I will say is, what is he supposed to do? Like, what is Brett supposed to? Not Brett. What is Brock supposed to do? Not use his weapons? It's the same reason why I was not a fan of when people would knock Mahomes for having Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Right? They'd say, well, of course Mahomes is good. He's got these two great guys. Now, we obviously know Mahomes is still Mahomes.
Yeah.
But at the time I go, what do you want him to do? Not throw to Tyreek and instead throw to Demarcus Robinson?
Right.
No. You use your
no.
weapons. And again, if Brock Purdy was in Carolina, no, he would not be as good. But same time, he's using what he has. And I can't knock a guy for that.
Brock Purdy's using his weapons, at his disposal that he has. You can't really fault what Purdy's trying to do. It's just one of those things. He's managing the game like he's supposed to under Coach Kyle Shanahan. So you got to give him that. Give him credit for that. You shouldn't really knock Purdy hard for that, honestly.
No. All right, a couple comments to get to. Will the A's move to Vegas? I don't know. I need to do more research. Last I checked, they were, and then I saw a report recently that said maybe the A's should try to stay in Oakland. That'll be when the football season ends. More of an update from me to you guys. Mark says my birthday is Super Bowl Sunday. Be a great present for them to go back-to-back. Mark, I'll be rooting for you, man. Chiefs go back-to-back. I will be thrilled for you. We're being joined now by Jalin Hyatt, receiver for the New York Giants.
How y'all doing?
How you doing,
I'm doing good. Can't complain.
By the way, Jalin Hyatt is brought to you by Hyatt. You guys probably saw the NIL deal last year. Obviously it made too much sense not to have it. Can you talk about your partnership with World of Hyatt?
Yeah, just started in my junior year in college as an NIL deal at first, and then after that, it moved to a partnership. When I got to the league, but I think the biggest thing, not because of the last name of Hyatt and Hyatt,
Sure.
Why it makes sense, but I think the biggest thing is just what we value, Hyatt and myself, and that's just relationships, that's family, and those two big areas are the biggest things that we care about, and it really just goes back to what they can provide, and if you join their rewards program, and you can get upgrades, you can at the same time there's Hyatts all across the country, so if you want to go on vacation, you can go wherever. Not only that, I'm going with my family to Mexico soon. And
I'm jealous.
Oh
man.
yeah, man!
Wow.
I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. So we're gonna go out there, stay at one of the resorts of, Hyatt, one of the Hyatt resorts out there. So it's gonna be fun. But I think the biggest thing about this partnership is just the two things that we value, and that's family and relationships, and that's the biggist thing about it.
Speaking of NIL, Jalin, what advice would you have for those college athletes utilizing the NIL situation? Share a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, if you're a young athlete and you get in NIL and trying to do partnerships, you got to make sure it makes sense. I think that's the biggest thing. Make sure it makes sense. Make sure that you want to do it. Not just because of the money or whatever it is. Make sure you actually want to do it, something that you actually want to be partnered with, and something that's going to make your brand, it's all about your brand at the end of the day, and just something that makes your brand, stand out compared to everybody else's. So, if you're a young athlete, those are the key focuses that I'll probably be doing, if I was trying to get the NIL deals, those three things, just trying to figure out those things.
What was the biggest difference, the biggest obstacle for you going from college to the NFL? What was that transition like?
Yeah, obviously the game speed's a little faster at first, until you start getting used to it. So at first, beginning of the year, preseason, week 1, week 2, that's kind of what I was struggling at first. Like, man, you're in the league, bro. Like, the game speed's here. But, once I got that, it got easier. I think another thing probably is, obviously you play more games, and, as a rookie, it kind of hits you. Like, it hit me, week 12, week 13, when I realized, like, man, we still got, like 8, 7, 6, 7 more games, and in college you only play 12 games, you're done. So, it started hitting me, and that was another thing I kind of had to fight through, but as far as those two things, it's been a smooth transition for myself.
Your rookie year, who was the toughest DB you faced in your rookie year this year?
Toughest, probably, I'll probably say Diggs. I went against him, when we went against the Cowboys before he got hurt. So I'll probably say Trayvon Diggs, just how he plays, his eyes in the backfield, he shadows you, wherever you go, your releases, your routes, he's going to shadow you, and, he's going to follow you. And, he's a long corner, got long arms, as far as how he's built. So I'll probably say him.
Obviously, you had that 109-yard game and that win over New England as towards the end of the season. What was that like for you? I mean, that has to be such a great feeling. It's almost like you made it, right? Like the 100-yard mark has always been such a benchmark.
Yeah,
in the
it's
NFL.
always that benchmark. Obviously I wanted a touchdown my rookie year, didn't get that, which sucked, but that's okay. We'll get that year 2. But, those 100-yard games are always the benchmark on what you want. You always want a 100-yard game. I had multiple of them in college, when I was at Tennessee. So when I got that first one, against the Patriots, it felt good. It felt, I was relieved. But, it's more, plenty more in the future to come.
Yeah.
My question to you, Jalin, would be, what are you looking to improve on in the offseason? Like, what are you trying to improve on during the offseason? Yeah,
I want to get bigger, just because they got me playing more of the outside role. So I want to get bigger. That's probably the biggest thing. Still want to work on my contested catches. Get my hands stronger. You can do that every year. Just keep getting my hands stronger. Obviously, routes. Making sure I'm crisp with my routes, making sure I'm getting better with that. Releases. Really those 4 or 5 things that I need to improve on, and those are things that I'll keep improving on throughout every year, and those are probably my biggest main focus points that I'm trying to hit.
Yeah, I love asking wide receivers just because it's so different. I think fans at home a lot of times just say, "Oh, he's a receiver." Yeah. But there's so many different intricacies at all 3 wide receiver spots. Can you go through a little bit of the growth from slot to the outside and some of the differences here?
What I mean, because I played slot at Tennessee, throughout my college career. Throughout my 3 years there, I was playing slot, didn't play outside at all. And then, when I got here, with the Giants, they kind of put me on the outside just because we got Wandale, in that slot area. And so they put me on the outside, and at first it's a little adjustment because in slot you kind of used to a little more free space, and then not only that, you're closer to the quarterback. Your routes are a little bit differently. You have more routes as far as in the slot because you have, you're more in the open space. When you're on the outside, you have the sideline. That defenders can push you to where they can use that as their help. Not only that, your routes are a little different. Not only do you see more press, you see more press man and. Safeties over top can help on you. So it's a whole bunch of things that, it can affect you, from a slot to the outside receiver. And for myself, I played outside before, so I'm not saying I never played it. I played outside before in high school. So for me, it was just a little bit of adjustment. But now knowing, okay, this is probably where they're going to put me. This is probably where I'm going to be at. Finally learning that, it'll be an easier transition for myself in year 2. So, yeah.
Who were your favorite players growing up, Jalin?
Yeah, favorite players. Obviously I was a big OBJ fan when he was with the Giants. Stephon Diggs fan. I'm a Justin Jefferson fan. CD. Really, all those guys that's balling. I'm a big Deshaun Jackson fan. I really admire his game, and at the same time I try to. I know he has what he does. But I try to play, not mimic my game out of him, but, I try to do the same things. And we kind of have the same body type, same, length as far as arms. And, how we run is kind of the same. So that's another, obviously, athlete or receiver that I love to watch, when he was playing. So yeah.
This is really interesting. A lot of guys your age I've talked to, they almost always say Deshaun Jackson is one of the guys they looked up to, a guy that if you ask, like, who's in your Mount Rushmore of receivers, Deshaun Jackson a lot of time ends up on that top 4. What is it about a lot of, I guess, just your generation of receivers that look up to Deshaun?
I think it's a whole, I think when you look at his game and, obviously you can look and be like, man, he's fast, he's fast. But it's really when you really watch the details of what he does, like, his eyes, when he's running full speed, sometimes he makes defenders believe that he is going until he snaps it down and then boom, it's a first down right there. It's everything that he does with the ball in his hands and just how, at the same time, how fast he is. I mean, the dude's fast, I'm fast, he's fast. And, I try to play like him. And not only that, he's a fun player. When he was playing, he was a fun player to watch. He was a exciting player to watch. And, that's what you want to be in the league, so I'm trying to get there.
You have a favorite place you've eaten in New York City, Jalin?
Ooh, favorite place. I'll probably go with. I was just at this pizza spot before I came out here to Las Vegas. It's on Prince Street in New York. Man, the best pizza they have. Boy, because I'm from South Carolina, so you know what I'm saying. Pizza out there, I be getting Domino's, Pizza Hut. The basics. You know what I'm saying, the basics.
Nice.
But when I got out to New York and I had that's when I knew I never had real pizza. So. Prince Street.
Oh man, that's such a good call. I'm from Kansas City. All right, so Casey, we got barbecue. We're not known for our pizza. I lived in Philly for a few years. I go to New York, and I remember being like, wait a minute. This is so different.
Yep.
And I was an idiot. I'd go to the bars until like 4 a.m. and I'm getting a slice in between each bar I'm hitting up. I'm like, man, New York ain't too bad after all.
I promise you. I promise you.
So I'm a Mizzou guy. I went to Mizzou. I'm sorry. I know there's a little bit of a rivalry here.
That's okay. That's okay.
Obviously, you're a Tennessee guy. What was that rivalry like for you? I know it's kind of a budding one now. The past 2 years, obviously, you got the better of Mizzou and a little bit of the whole run of the score. But then this year, you saw Mizzou try and give it back.
Yeah, I was watching the game this year when Tennessee played Missouri. And I can just tell. I was like, Missouri's different this year. I don't know what it was, but they were different this year because, when we played them first year, when we just got hype that first year, I think it was a blowout, to be honest.
It was.
Yeah, I think it was. And then second year, I think we won as well. But third year, when I left, I seen it was something different about Missouri. I think it's y'all quarterback, if I had to believe. I think y'all have a good quarterback. But I don't know. I might be wrong. But as far as rivalries in the SEC, though, man, that's the best thing about it. If you're a recruit, high school player, whatever, like, man, you want to come play in the SEC. You got the best of the best. Not only that, we're bringing more teams in. I think we got Oklahoma and Texas coming in, right? That's going to bring a whole another element to it.
Yep.
So it's going to be fun, man. The SEC is going to be a fun thing to watch. Even with Saban leaving, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
So we're here at Super Bowl 58, getting ready for the Niners and Chiefs. I want to know about your X factor and let's talk about the matchup.
My X factor is definitely going to be Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to have him as my X factor. I just think you can't bet against them. I think if the 49ers come out and they do what they did against us when we played them in week 4, week 3, I want to say if they come out, hold the possession of the ball like they do so well, run the ball, keep the possession in their hands, they're a complete team as well. So if they do that, they have a good chance of winning. But the problem is, we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, so I every time I try to bet against him, it never works out. So I just stopped doing it, and I just start going with him every time. I just think, I just think you just can't bet against him. I just think Patrick Mahomes. I really believe you go as far as your quarterback in National Football League, and that's what he does, man. He wins games. He goes out there. He hits his targets. He's accurate. I mean, and you see that every game, with him. And not only that, Chiefs have a complete defense as well that I like. And at the same time, I love the 49ers, man. They got Deebo Samuels. They got a lot of guys that, can do what they got to do. But I got to go Chiefs, man, 24-17.
Just so you know, there's a lot of Chiefs fans that listen to us right now. They're all going to be very happy with
I gotta go Chiefs. But at the same time, if 49ers do how they came when we played against them, they try to hold the ball, hold the possession of the ball, run the ball. Because I remember when we played them, man, like bro, we're on the sideline like, man, when we gonna get the ball?
Yeah.
Like, when is our offense gonna go out there? You know, they're very good at it, man. They're very talented at it. So, but I gotta go Chiefs though, 24-17.
Before I let you go, when it comes down to the transition from Daniel Jones to Tommy DeVito, what's that like as a wide receiver? And what are expectations for next season?
Yeah, you know, obviously we have 3 different quarterbacks that we had rotating. You know, when DJ got hurt, you know, we had Tyrod, and Tyrod kind of got hurt, you know, for a couple of weeks. Then we went with Tommy, and you know, all 3 quarterbacks obviously elite. I love all 3 of them, but you know, they all have 3 different. They all have, you know, their own things that they love. You know, there's specific plays that they like. So you know, as a receiver, it's a little difficult because you know you're playing with 3 different quarterbacks and you know 3 different game plans. You know, so it was a little adjustment for us as well. But man, as far as year 2 for myself, you know, just I'm hoping for a big year 2, you know, big jump. I just can't wait, man. I'm blessed, and you know, I love it in New York, and you know, I love our fan base, and only that organization. I feel like we have a complete team. We just got to finish, and that's all we got to do. So we'll get there.
Well, good luck next year.
Good
have
luck,
fun in New
Jalin.
York. Have fun in Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for your time today,
Yeah,
Jalin.
thank you.
Again, Jalin Hyatt with World of Hyatt. Man, have some fun in Mexico, man. That's going to be.
Yeah, I will. Trust me.
I'm jealous right there. Again, Jalin Hyatt, wide receiver for the New York Giants. Thanks, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Jalin.
it. Well, everyone listening right there, I mean, that's another Chiefs guy picking Chiefs.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Malcolm?
So far, so good. I'm interested to see what the rest of the guests have to say.
Yeah, I know. I'm just, you know, sometimes they try and you hear the fans and the media talk.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Niners love, right?
Well, yeah.
A lot of them picking the Niners, but
Yeah,
all of a sudden,
it's about split right down the middle. You know, like 51% of the fans are picking the Niners, and then like 49% is like Chiefs. So it's like so it's it's 50% right down the middle. It's just really tough.
yeah. Hunter, I'm going to ask before Shannon Sharp gets here. I'm just going to do it. How do you pronounce this? Okos? Okay, we're going to find out. We're going to find out. We're going to find out the ad, baby. That was fun, though, man. Jalin Hyatt's a good dude.
Fun.
Yeah, we'll go with one of those. No, but it's fun talking with Jalin, man. I love talking to young wide receivers because I do think there's a massive difference from playing wide receiver in college compared to the NFL.
Yeah.
And getting their insight on the transition, as well as for him. You know, he was a slot receiver at Tennessee.
Yeah.
Now you're an outside receiver. You're playing on the outside of the NFL. That is a massive difference. So getting their legitimate thoughts on the intricacies of the differences.
It's a massive adjustment too, Sterling. Also, playing from slot receiver to outside in the NFL, from college. That transition must be tough because, like, you're a slot receiver in college. Now you get drafted into the NFL. Now you're playing on the outside. Now your job as a wide receiver is not just trying to catch the ball, but you're trying to see like where the defender's at, try to locate the ball and everything like that. So it's not always an easy transition.
Yeah.
It'll probably take you at least, when you start out in the NFL, it'll probably take you at least a year or two, to transition.
What I will say is if you are a Chiefs fan, take what Jalin Hyatt said.
Yeah.
And try and have a little more patience, I think, with Sky Moore. Okay?
I
know it might be hard for some people, but when you look at Sky Moore as a slot receiver, that's what he does.
Yeah.
And you see him forced to play on the outside this year, and you see all of the struggles, you should have a little more
patience,
I think. And again, I'm not saying Sky Moore is going to turn into a legit wide receiver one. I'm not
Right.
I'm not trying to blow smoke for
Right.
anyone. But I do think there's a case to be made that he can still be a valuable piece. Just he's in the growing phase. He's in the learning phase still.
Yeah. Okay, so if you had to play the receiver position, what side of receiver would be difficult in your mind? Would it be outside or slot?
I think for me, slot. I ain't taking those big hits over the middle. Now I know they try to protect you,
Yeah.
but I'm not getting blown up. I think you can make the case that slot can be at times easier because you're going up against slot corners, you're going up against linebackers,
Right.
against safeties.
Right.
But once you catch the ball, you might get open quicker. But once you catch the ball, you're getting hit, and that's why I find guys like Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, who we're talking to Puka Nacua later today.
Exactly.
When you find guys like that and they're able to hang on to the football over the middle, I just have so much respect for
Shannon
those guys.
Sharp a slot receiver or an outside receiver?
Shannon Sharp's a tight end.
Oh, he's a tight end. That's right.
He was a tight end. So we'll be joined by Shannon Sharp in just a couple minutes here, waiting on him. I'm already getting some questions in the chat. Sharp's prime, Kelsey's prime. Who's better? Oh, man.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
If I had to say who's better, in my mind, I would have to go Kelsey.
You gonna tell him that?
Yeah, I'm.
You gonna tell Shannon that?
No, but honestly, I would have to go Shannon really because the way Shannon was able to.
You just said Kelsey. You changed it on me already, Malcolm?
Yeah, I'm changing it on the fly.
Okay.
I gotta go Shannon here.
Okay.
Gotta go Shannon.
I love this comment. Can you guys give me a job, even like $1 an hour? I need to get out of my house. I cannot. I don't have that power.
I don't have that power either. Can't help you on that one.
We can't help him, I don't think.
Nope. Can't help you guys on that one. Sorry about that.
We wish we could.
We wish we could.
We wish we could. And again, I'm getting your guys' comments right here about Shannon Sharp thoughts on Travis Kelce. We'll get his thoughts on Travis Kelce as well as George Kittle.
Yep.
Because I think those two guys have been the best tight end in football for a while now. I mean, it's been, I think, Kelce 1, Kittle 2, especially with the retirement of Gronk. There's a clear-cut tier, I think, of those two. Then maybe if you want to throw Mark Andrews into the equation, I'll entertain it. But I think Kittle and Kelce are in a tier of their own.
If you had to rank between Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Mark Andrews, and Gronk, how would you rank them?
In their prime or just careers?
In their prime.
I think in your prime, you might have to go Gronk 1. Mm-hmm. The issue with Gronk is he retired.
Right.
Kelsey's still playing and putting up big-time numbers. Like, I think it's always an interesting question is, okay, in a 3-year sample size, who had a better 3 years? You might go Gronk.
Right.
You might. I'm not saying you will, but you might.
Right.
And I think you can entertain that. But when you go for career, I think it's already a pretty clear cut. It's Kelsey over Gronk. Like, if you want to say Super Bowls, I get it, man. But
yeah,
I don't know if you want to go with a rings argument for a tight end. Like, I feel like that's a little bit of a straw man. Yeah, a little bit of a stretch there. Yeah. So again, I think if you're going peak, you might say Gronk. I wouldn't argue it, but I think if you're going career, it's definitely going to go for me, Kelce, Gronk, Kittle.
What about Mark Andrews?
Mark Andrews 4th, and all the totality, whether it's prime, career, any of that. Mark Andrews is behind those 3 guys for sure. Question here from Brett. Excited to hear from NFL all-time rookie receiver record holder Puka Nacua. Can you ask him how he frames his 2023 season in terms of setting goals for 2024? Good question, Brett. We'll be joined by Puka. Let me see that right here. Probably around 9:45-ish. So hold on.
9:45 on that.
I'll try and remember that one for you, Brett. Good question here. Shannon Sharp or Tony G?
Oof. Man, that's a tough one. Both were good in their primes. But if I had to choose one, I gotta go. I gotta go. Tony Gonzalez here. Tony Gonzalez, was a phenomenal tight end for Kansas City.
I think you need to bring that up to him. I think you should bring it to Shannon. I got Tony G over you.
Yeah.
I think that might be interesting.
Yeah.
See how that goes.
I want to see what Shannon has to say about that.
I mean, you've seen his biceps. I'm not. You know what I'm not going to do? Get into an arm wrestling match with Shannon.
I'm not going to do that either. He's probably stronger than me, I'm sure.
I don't know, man. You're strong, dude. You're built.
Yeah.
Malcolm's built. A couple more questions here. Oh, this is a good one here from Shrey. Do you think that the hits Rob Gronkowski used to take from the safety, specifically at the knees, were dirty hits? I'll let you go this one first. Do you think they were dirty hits?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no on that. The hits that Gronk took were clean. They weren't dirty. So that'd be my response to that.
Yeah, I'll say for the most part, no, I do not think they were dirty. I think that he's a very large man. I think he's very difficult to bring down.
Yeah.
End of the day, I think it was a case of you had to try and hit him low, or else he's going to go over you.
Yeah, he's going to hurdle. He's going to jump. He's going to hurdle over you if you try to hit him high.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and say, no, I don't think those were dirty hits a lot of times on Gronk's knees. I think it was unfortunate. So the same thing happened with TJ Hawkinson this year. So the same thing happened. Actually, it was the same safety that took out Hawkinson, as well as drawing a blank on who was taken out after that. But again, I think that's the way the rules are set up right now. That's what you have to do, whether you think it's dirty or not. That is how the rules are set up for safeties. They can't go.
Let me piggyback on that, Sterling. Let me ask you, how as a safety are you supposed to adjust with these rules now?
Yeah, I think it is incredibly difficult for defensive players right now, and taking away that hit. I understand there's injury concerns, but then I really don't know. It's easy to say form tackle. If you are a 5'11", 205 corner,
right?
You're a 6'1",
right,
200-pound safety.
Yep.
And you see 6'6", 265 coming at you, you try and form tackle, it ain't going to end up well for you. You ain't bringing him down. So that's just the nature of the beast. There's no great ways of doing it.
As a defensive tackle, are there certain things that in today's game that you think should are there things that as a defensive tackle that could improve the game a little bit better, with like the hits that these guys have to take, that they have to adjust? Is there something that in your mind that maybe the NFL needs to consider taking away, or maybe improve? Or
I know it's difficult, and everyone wants the new hot topic's the hip drop tackle. I just don't see a way of doing that while being fair for defensive players to still bring guys down.
Right.
I don't think there's anything malicious behind these hits.
Right.
But you can only do so much. You can't hit high. You can't hit low. You can only hit in a 1 foot radius. It's just not realistic to me. It's the game of football. It sucks. Injuries are a part. Talking to Max Crosby, he goes, injuries are a part. We know what we sign up for.
Yeah.
We know what we sign up for. A couple questions to get to. Sharp or Tony Moyaki? Yeah, I'm going Shannon Sharp. Tough one there.
I'm going with Shannon Sharp too.
Although I did like Tony Moyaki. I thought he was going to be pretty good.
Yeah, he was pretty good too.
Chris said, Sterling, did you see the question I sent you to ask Shannon? No, Chris. I did not see the question you sent to ask Shannon. You can send that to me. I will try my best to get to stuff. Obviously going to be a little difficult. We don't know how timing's going to go. So I will do my best, Chris, but I can't promise anything. But yeah, again, send that to me again on the YouTube comments. Really tough right now. I have so many things open, whether my laptop, 18 pieces of paper, my phone, a water, a coffee. I think 18 pieces of paper is actually an understatement. I have way more than 18. So
you have more than that, Sterling. More than 18.
Yeah, I got a lot. We got a whole bunch, a plethora of
we
stuff.
Have
if you
smorgasbord.
A
smorgasbord of things up here.
Yeah, I would agree with
that.
So we're doing a little bit of finding out when Shannon Sharp's going to be here. We're doing a little bit of moving around, but that is the nature of the beast. Hey, that's showbiz, baby.
Yeah.
That's showbiz.
Absolutely.
Come on, Malcom. That's showbiz, baby.
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Absolutely.
Does Gronk's blocking ability give him an edge over the other great tight ends? That's why I kind of said his blocking his prime Shrey. I think if you want to say his prime, you can make that case, but I do think there's a reason why you draft receiving tight ends in the first round. You're not drafting blocking tight ends in the first round. I'm not saying it's unimportant, but I think it's a little bit of a case where you're like, you're not drafting a running back for his pass protection.
Right.
That's a bonus.
Right.
And Travis Kelce, I think, is a much better blocker than he gets credit for a lot of times. So I don't know. Again, Gronk is the better blocker. I'm not denying you.
Right.
But I don't know if the margin is that different than I think a lot of people want you to believe. And then it comes down to, do you think Travis Kelce is that much a better pass catcher than Gronkowski was a pass catcher? And that's what it comes down to. You agree, disagree, Malcolm?
I agree with that, Sterling. Definitely.
Okay. We're going to have a little bit of a switch here. Shannon will be joining us potentially later on. We will find out. Looks like he's running a little bit behind. Derek Brooks will be joining us hopefully very, very soon, actually.
Yeah, very soon.
So
very
everyone,
shortly, actually.
keep posted. But that's showbiz, baby. We have to adapt and overcome.
Yep.
Adapt and overcome, Malcolm.
Yep, that's what we do in showbiz.
That's the name of the beast right here. So we will wait and see, but it looks like Derek Brooks will be next one up. If everyone remembers Derek Brooks, Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, linebacker for
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Bucs for a long time, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I love Derek Brooks growing up. He was like my favorite linebacker to watch.
Yeah.
Like he really helped get me into football. So I'm excited to talk to.
I'm excited
Derek
to talk
Brooks.
to him too.
It's always fun when you talk to guys who you grew up watching and
Yeah, who
idolizing.
grew up idolizing, in the game of football, and just be like, wow, this player helped me helped me to be, the broadcaster I'm supposed to be, or the reporter I'm supposed to be, So it's kind of, I love things like that, and for me, I'll say this, I love the Buccaneers. Back in the day, I loved Derek Brooks. I loved John Lynch. I loved Warren Sapp. I loved those guys especially. I loved Brad Johnson, who was quarterback. Sean King, those guys.
Yeah.
Warren Dunn. I could go on and on and on. Those guys were phenomenal players.
Sean King, and Warren Dunn. Warwick Dunn.
Yeah, Warwick Dunn, yeah.
Not a name I've heard in a while. Not a name I've heard in a minute.
Warren Dunn?
Yeah, it's been a while. I love it. Warren Sapp. I love those Buccaneers teams.
Yeah. Sean
Mike
King.
Allstott.
Yeah, Mike Allstott, Sean King.
Good question here. Brian Urlacher or Derek Brooks?
Ooh.
Jay Ham says, who's my favorite player? Mr. Derek Brooks. Sean goes on with Brooks is one of the hardest hitting linebackers. Yes, he was.
He was. Most certainly.
Dude laid the wood. Someone says, have we seen the Blue Man Show? I've not seen the Blue Man Show, but we did see the group walking around. Actually, our producer Hunter got a great picture with one of the members of Blue Man Group last night.
At the media party last night.
They don't talk.
Yeah, they don't.
The Blue Man Group don't talk.
No.
I didn't know this. It's kind of like if you go to Buckingham Palace, which, again, I've never been to. Not going to front. I've never been there.
I haven't been to Buckingham Palace myself either, Sterling.
But you know how they just stand there and, like, they don't talk?
Right.
Like the Blue Man Group, they don't talk.
They're just silent. They're just silent. They're just they're just watching. Like they're a phenomenal group, and if you guys are ever in the Vegas area, I highly recommend you go see Blue Man Group as well. They were also on America's Got Talent as well. AGT. If you haven't watched AGT, it's phenomenal with Terry Crews and those guys, and check out Blue Man Group if you're ever in Vegas.
I think Josh has maybe my favorite comment of the day so far. Not the first time Shannon Sharp ran away when Derek Brooks was around. Boom.
Boom.
Mic drop. That's nature of the beast. We will keep everyone posted on that, but again, Derek Brooks will be here shortly. Derek Brooks is brought to us by Little Caesars, which is great, because I don't know if you know this about me, Malcolm. I'm a big Little Caesars guy. Like, again.
You know where Little Caesars, is based out of? Michigan, Detroit.
It is.
Detroit, Michigan.
It is. I know you're a 49ers guy.
Yeah.
What's your optimism level as we head into Sunday's game?
I'm very interested to see, Sterling, what the 49ers are going to do to try to slow down Patrick Mahomes. And are they going to try to get pressure on him? Are they going to try and stack the box? Are they going to try
stack the box?
Yeah, they're going to try and stack the box. Are they going to try and do different coverages to try to slow him down? Is Steve Wilkes going to try and, do different blitz packages? Are they going to try and do cover zero? Or, that's my key right there. And I want them to try to get off to a faster start, because lately in the last two games, they've gone up such a slow start. Just slow starts, and if you expect to start slow against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl on Sunday, you're in trouble. So Brock Purdy has to be has to be guns blazing early on fire. So that's what I'm interested in seeing as a Niners fan, so we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Man, there's a lot of great comments on here. I love everyone on here who's hanging out, chatting, having fun with us.
Yeah, it's all about having fun.
It's all about having fun. Again, Sterling Holmes, my guy Malcom here. We are unified, reporting unified Super Bowl coverage with fan-sided and Special Olympics. Couple of moving parts here. Just a few moving parts here.
Yeah, just a few moving parts so far. It's all about it's all about Media Row. Just seeing all different stations, different radio affiliates around the country. Just passing by. So it's all about the fun and the experience of doing this. It's my second year. And I did it last year in Arizona. It was a lot of fun, but this one tops it better than Arizona, because Arizona last year was very, very tight, very, very tight squeeze. Everything was all tight. The setup wasn't like this, where you have more space, you have more real estate to do whatever, and I like the setup. So I'm very interested to see what happens in New Orleans next year, as we get to Super Bowls, as we get to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans next year.
Yeah. Some more comments here. Sterling, is Kyle Shanahan known for having an answer to the blitz, and how well do you expect them to adjust? I think pretty well, man. Christian McCaffrey can absolutely do it all. Kyle Juszczyk is the best fullback in football, man. Kyle Juszczyk is the best best fullback in football.
Hands down.
They can use him as a pseudo tight end. He's very versatile as well. I mean, again, I think when you talk about the 49ers offense, versatility is one of the first things that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Now, Chiefs defense, versatility is the first thing that comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a matchup of who can get the edge. But as far as how can Shanahan adjust to what Spagnuolo is going to bring, I do think Shanahan's capable of it. Now, Brock Purdy is obviously young. He's, I guess you'd probably still say, relatively inexperienced, right? He's not seen everything yet in the NFL.
He hasn't seen a lot of different blitz packages that Spags will throw at him. I'm sure that Brock Purdy's going to make the adjustment. Now, my question would be, for Purdy is, you got to be able to make that adjustment, not just in the first half, but for the whole entire 60 minutes. You got to be able to adjust whatever Spags is throwing at him.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to just, like I said before, if you're the Niners, you got to start fast, because the last two games you started so slow to a point where you have to catch up. And in the Super Bowl, if you fall behind to the Chiefs, you're in trouble.
You are in trouble. I will say, though, again, going back to that a little bit more, George Kittle, again, great blocker. They will use other tight ends to stay in and help as blockers. They will be more prepared to pick up what the Chiefs can send than any other team the Chiefs have played this year.
Right.
While the traditional offensive line of the 49ers is not great, and they've had their struggles, Trent Williams is obviously an absolute stud.
Right.
But they have the guys outside of the offensive line that have the ability to pick up what will be getting sent.
I want to see if the Niners will utilize Deebo Samuel. Will they have some trick plays up their sleeve? Will they try to get Jawan Jennings involved as well? Do some kind of like jet sweeps or something. Just try to throw the defense of the Chiefs off a little bit. Do some kind of trick plays just to try to get the Chiefs defense on their heels a little bit. So that's what I want to see on Sunday with the Niners. Try to do some kind of trick play where you get the Chiefs defense on their heels a little bit.
Yeah. I think Deebo Samuel out of the backfield running the football is what makes me more nervous. I don't honestly, and again, maybe I'm the minority here, I don't think that Christian McCaffrey on the ground is going to be a huge X factor. I think the Chiefs can take that away. I know the Chiefs have traditionally not ranked very well in run defense this year, but you saw what they did against Miami, a similar style of run offense. You saw what they did against the Ravens. Now, again, I know they got ran all over by Denver, at times by the Raiders, right? But end of the day, I think they have the ability to take away your best attribute. And I think McCaffrey on the ground running the football might be what they do best. Now, you will not be able to stop him through the air.
Right.
And that's my concern is, will the linebackers, Willie Gay Jr., I assume he's going to play. Neck injury was questionable a couple weeks ago. Should be good to go in this one. Leo Chenal, not known for his pass coverage.
Exactly.
Nick Bolton, love Nick Bolton, not known for his pass coverage. Drew Tranquil, we'll see who is able to go up against McCaffrey.
Jerry
as a
Sneed,
backfield.
don't forget about him too.
Yeah, but I trust him to go up against Brandon Ayuk on the outside.
Right.
That's where I think he's going to be used most
Right.
at.
So Sterling, does this Chiefs team remind you kind of similar to what the Belichick teams that he had with the Pats? Do the Chiefs kind of remind you of that Bill Belichick kind of led Patriot teams that were successful winning those championships?
I think this year more than any other year, I would agree with that. Because when you look at it, this has been a defensive first team.
Yeah.
This has been a team where receivers haven't always been great.
Right.
You've ran the football a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And as great as Tom Brady was, sometimes you wouldn't ask him to do a ton.
Right.
That depends. They had different iterations.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at the defense first, the 13-3 Super Bowl win over the Rams, I think you're looking more like this, where Mahomes is obviously the best player in the world, but you don't have him going out there and slinging the ball 50 times a game.
Right.
What you do is you pick and choose, keep the ball out of harm's way, and know and trust that in his limited opportunity, he will make the plays. Just how Tom Brady would go out in the plays that he needed, he'd make the plays. But winning 13-3 versus 35-3 is still a win. Right. I know fans sometimes, and myself included, I would look back and go, yeah, I mean, they won by scoring 13 points. Yeah, but they didn't need to score more.
Yeah.
They trusted the defense. They took what was given, and they got it done. The
Right.
Chiefs did this against the Ravens. Second half, they weren't out there throwing the ball. What did they do?
Ran the football.
They go, you know what? Ravens aren't going to score, so let's just run the clock out, take some time off.
Run the rock, and just keep the ball out of harm's way and keep the ball out of Lamar Jackson's hands. That's what they did 2 weeks ago against the Ravens. So if I'm the Niners, you gotta pretty much watch what the Ravens tried to do, or you could try to see, okay, we gotta keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands as much as we can.
Yeah.
You gotta control the line of scrimmage. If that's something the Niners can do on Sunday, then I think the Niners will have a chance. But if they don't, then the Chiefs, to me, are going to win this game.
Yeah. A couple comments to get to right here. Trent Williams versus FAU. Thoughts from Jesus Perez. Not good. Hey, at least you could say that Trent doesn't have any tape on FAU, right?
Right.
No, man. I don't know how much FAU plays. I really don't. I actually do expect him to be active with Charles Omenihu going down. Obviously, with the ACL done for the year. We'll see how that affects him next year. That's more off-season talk coming your way later on. But when it comes to FAU, I expect to see a lot more Karlaftis, which I also see Sean points out. Karlaftis is his X factor because Omenihu was really coming on as I love George K, but he does not always win quick.
Right.
I love Karlaftis. He is extremely valuable to this team. But Omenihu was a guy who was starting to win quick and make a lot of impact plays. Him going down puts an added pressure on Karlaftis. He now has to step up because Chris Jones is getting doubled. So then you had Karlaftis and Omenihu going one-on-one.
Right.
One of those two guys has a chance to make a play. Now, extra pressure on Karlaftis. He would be my X factor. But going back,
do you think Karlaftis is going to get after Purdy? Do you think he's going to have a big day, or do you think the Niners are going to say, okay, we're going to try to stay away from Karlaftis and Jones and those guys?
He's going to have to, man. I mean, Karlaftis is going to have a big game. If he does not, this Chiefs defensive line is going to be in serious, serious trouble because Mike Dana, as much like Mike Dana, he's a solid piece.
Yeah.
He's not the most explosive guy. He's a guy you want for the season. In a one-game sample size, are you trusting Mike Dana to get up and defend a pass, knock a ball down the line of scrimmage, get a sack, get the backfield 4 or 5 times? I think you have that with Omenihu. I don't know how much you trust Mike. Again, I'm not saying he can't do it, but I think it'd be more of a surprise in Charles, which again, added pressure on Karlaftis. Karlaftis already plays a ton of snaps every single game. So now you're going to see those snap counts go even higher.
Right.
Got a great motor, but how much can that motor last? You're going to be getting him going up to 300K miles if you're in truck terms this game.
So the field conditions, if you had to choose between the Niners and Chiefs, who has the advantage? Who would you pick, Niners or Chiefs? Who would have that advantage with the field conditions?
Chiefs.
All way?
Chiefs have played twice a year in Vegas now, and okay, we got a little bit of news here. I will show you this. This is going to go to Puka Nacua later on, whenever Puka Nacua comes on here.
Yeah.
Derek Brooks is getting pushed back. He is going to be on the Arrowhead Attic stream a little later on. That's the hope. So Derek Brooks, again, obviously a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving things going on here. So things will get pushed back, things will get added in. Obviously, like yesterday, Gracie Hunt was all of a sudden walking by. Gracie Hunt came on.
Yeah.
Derek Brooks right now, Shannon Sharp, they weren't able to make it right here. They might be getting pushed back a little later, but Derek Brooks on Arrowhead Attic with Patrick Allen and myself looks like it's going to happen. Nate Boyer will be up next. Nate Boyer, former NFL long snapper. Really cool story, man. He was a United States Army Green Beret, served 6 years overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan. He has a really cool story, so we'll be talking with Nate Boyer hopefully pretty soon.
He was also a Texas, University of Texas walk-on, which is amazing. Had no football experience whatsoever. Eventually became a starter, but then only made 1 tackle in 3 preseason games for the Seahawks. What a miraculous story. Can't wait to interview Nate Boyer. So looking forward to that.
Yeah. In regards to what Shrey said, I think this is a phenomenal question. The 2015 Broncos allowed 340 points in 19 games. The 2023 Chiefs have allowed 335 points in 20 games. Should this Chiefs defense be remembered as an all-time great defense? Very, very good question. The only issue is there were a couple of better defenses this season.
Yeah.
Now, again, it might not seem that long ago, but in 8 years, I do think the game has evolved a little bit more. Now, this year, scoring was down league-wide.
Yeah, it was.
So I do think that has to be thrown into the equation. Now, again, I'm not talking dead ball era in baseball, right? But same point, I'm sitting here going, when you see what the Ravens did, you see what the Niners did, the Browns did defensively this year, they're all in the same category as Kansas City. So if you're saying the Chiefs are historically great, which again, I think in Chiefs history, this defense goes down as one of the best ones. I mean, obviously you go down with Willie Lanier, you go down with Bobby Bell, Derek Thomas, I get all that. But in regards to looking back in the bowels of history, I don't think you're going to look back and say this was historic. I think you'll say it's very good.
It's very good, but not historic by any stretch of the imagination.
And again, I get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Because that 2015 Broncos defense is known as that.
Right.
I just don't think because of the other teams that were great this year defensively, this Chiefs team will get remembered the way it probably should.
It should, but this year's Chiefs defense is is a good defense. You had phenomenal defenses all season long by the Ravens, the 49ers, the Browns you could put in there. I mean, just to answer that question, I mean, the 2015 Chiefs defense.
That's a big hat right there. We can't get a camera on it. That's the big hat right there.
I love the hat.
That's incredible.
It's incredible.
They're amazing. We're doing the NFL experience, and so we got. Oh, thank you. We're doing the NFL experience, and so we got a booth over there, and so we're doing the purple, the white. We have red for Chiefs.
Nice.
We got
incredible.
All of them. So you can pick the color.
Ones too, just like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then the special patches. So we got new patches for the Super Bowl, and then the logo, and you can also make your own teams. And
how's it fit around the dome? Is it pretty?
No, it's perfect. So
Perfect.
there's 2. We got like a small, medium, and then a medium large. So you can definitely
I'm small, medium. I got a small head. Small head.
Oh, this one's. Do you want to try it on?
I'm good.
I have a big head, so I'm sure that I'm sure.
We'll get you one.
Yeah.
We got you. We want to be safe.
Yeah. Better safe than sorry,
Exactly. Exactly.
Those are awesome. Where are they at over there?
So we got a booth at the NFL Experience.
Okay.
So we'll be there. We're in the like right next to the Nike and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
glad you like it.
No, it's awesome. I can't wait to
awesome.
show it to my golf trips with that hat on, trying to really show them up.
I can't wait to wear that. I can't wait to wear that going back home in Florida.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, thank you guys.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. See you around.
We'll see you there.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Big hat guy.
Yeah. I love big hats.
She's just getting around, just getting inundated by everyone who's walking by and seeing the big hats.
Seeing it.
Was it Brian Robinson that had the big hat originally? Was that the first guy that really had it? Yeah. I don't know, man. I love Jimmy who goes, "Don't mess with Sterling's hair." Thank you, Jimmy. Thanks. She knew right away when she's like, "You want to try it on?" I'm like, "I'm good." She's like, "You can tell."
Yeah.
You don't want to mess with the locks. We got a long day here, and got to keep it looking at least a little tight.
You got a little professional with the locks there, Sterling. Definitely.
Yeah. Chiefs again says Chiefs win. Travis Kelce proposed to Taylor Swift on the field. I don't know, man. That's ball. It's not been long enough.
That's ballsy.
That's not long enough.
That's ballsy, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Shrey goes, I'm a Broncos fan, so that's really all I have to cling on to. Hey, well, if you're a Broncos guy, first off, appreciate you listening here, man. Thank you so much. I guess then I gave you the answer you wanted, which was I would go back and say, no, that 2015 Broncos defense will be remembered more fondly and historic than this Chiefs defense. Again, I get what you're saying points-wise, but I just don't. And fair or unfair, that was Peyton Manning's last hurrah, if you will. And let's be real now.
Carolina as well with Cam Newton as well.
Blew
And you
him
got to
out.
remember, Carolina only had one loss in that, during that year. So, like we're saying, you had great defenses all season long, from the Ravens to the Browns to the Niners. I mean, this Chiefs defense is going to be a good defense, but they're not going to be considered the great all-time defenses, we're accustomed to seeing.
And again, just Peyton Manning wasn't the same offensive
Right.
juggernaut, and so
Right,
they
exactly.
were defense. And this year, fair or not, when you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback in his prime, the defense will never get its fair due.
Absolutely.
It just won't. And the thing is, defensively, you don't see a lot of superstars, or at least current big names. Maybe we look back and we'll say, oh, L'Jarius Sneed, Hall of Famer. Trent McDuffie, Hall of Famer. Nick Bolton, whatever you want to say. But, we're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
And so you have Chris Jones, but that's really the only superstar name, right? That's the only real, I think you can make the case, superstar.
Do you see Chris Jones as a Hall of Famer eventually?
Yes, Chris Jones, I think, is already there. I think Chris Jones, if he retired right now, he's a Hall of Famer.
Would you say he's better than Derek Thomas was?
Great question. No.
No?
I don't think I would go that far.
Where would you go then? If not Derek Thomas, great.
Derek Thomas is the best of all time, baby.
Would you go Reggie White?
No. Come, you're naming the best of all time, Malcolm.
Right.
Come on. No, I can't get there. But I think if you're looking back, he's in a category of the elite all-time interior pass rushers.
Right.
Oh, dude, there's more noggin bosses. Yeah, those are great. We saw you guys walking. Oh, yeah, she's back again. She's back again.
I like it.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
Thanks,
Sweet.
guys.
Thanks.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank
Awesome.
you, guys.
Look at that, Malcolm. You going to rock one of those?
Oh, I'm going to rock it, Sterling.
Yeah, baby.
We're
Those
going to
are
rock
cool.
it together. How about that?
Those are sweet.
Those are sweet hats.
We're going to rock those.
We are.
Question here. Bucky Brooks and Daniel Jeremiah say pay Chris Jones no matter what, let Snead walk. Now, I think that is fair. I think it's tough, but let me lay this out for you. We all want both guys back. We all want L'Jarius Snead back.
Yeah, we do.
Well, if you're a Chiefs fan, now maybe you're a 49ers guy, you don't care as much.
I want L'Jarius Snead back, absolutely.
But he's a cornerback, and there's a lot higher variance with corners. Now, again, you saw Travarius Ward go from a really good cornerback in KC to all-pro in San Fran. He was on that trajectory. But you've seen guys, I think obviously Nnamdi Asomugha is the first guy that comes to mind when you think of guys falling off.
Yeah, he played for the Raiders.
You think J.C. Jackson with the Chargers. Cornerbacks are very volatile. I think of them a lot of times as closers in baseball. Wade Davis for the Royals, great for a while. Fell off. Greg Holland, great for a while. Fell off. Joaquin Story, back and forth. I mean, it's very difficult. And Chris Jones plays a position where it's very easy to predict year over year. Not always. Maybe 1 year 16, one's 10. But I think year over year you have the more consistency with a defensive lineman. I think if you're going to make the case of who do you pay more, what's more consistent, you go with Chris Jones. And I will also make the case is the Chiefs have done a great job finding cornerbacks. I mean, you look at Trent McDuffie, All-Pro this year, Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, valuable pieces.
Look at the Honey Badger who was on the Chiefs.
I just sit back and I find you can draft these guys. They've not shown a great ability to always draft defensive linemen.
Right.
And so if you want to make the case, I think you can make that case, and you can find me swaying towards getting Chris Jones staying in Kansas City instead of L'Jarius, but L'Jarius is younger. It's
the Chiefs are going to have some decisions to make during the offseason. If you ask me, sir, I mean, they have a lot of decisions to make.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult.
And for me, I'm just seeing what transpires with Coach Reed. Is he, is this going to be his last hurrah? Is he going to go into the sunset?
He came out and said, I ain't done. I ain't done yet. Now, I will also point out, someone asking Bolton and Creed Humphrey walk after this season. One more year. They got one more year. They got 4 years. They were second-round draft picks. They got 4 years. If you mean after the Super Bowl and then that next season, yes. But after the Super Bowl, no. They got 1 more year left.
Where do you see the Chiefs? What do you think the Chiefs need to do during the draft? Where do you think they need to improve in your mind?
Wide receiver.
Wide
Obvious
receiver?
answer. Obvious answer. Wide receiver.
Other position besides wide receiver, or just wide receiver in general?
I wouldn't mind drafting a little more offensive line depth. I think you never have too much offensive line depth. I think you can never have too. Honestly, believe it or not, I think a little bit of linebacker, because you might not get Willie Gay Jr. back. Who knows with Nick Bolton what his price is going to cost? Drew Tranquil obviously was on a 1-year contract. Willie Gay Jr., Leo Chenal. I mean, I'm a fan of a third-rounder, fourth-rounder, probably a fourth-round linebacker. I think that's probably where I'd go. I think defensive tackle, still a spot they tried. They missed. Keandre Coburn in the 6th round this year. I think that was actually lauded as a great draft pick. Didn't plan out.
If you're the Chiefs, if you had a wideout you would go after in the draft this upcoming year in Detroit? Who would you draft?
What was that now? One more time.
A wideout in the draft for the Chiefs.
Oh, that's a tough one. That is a very good question. We're actually talking to a few of them today, so I'll see if I can sway them. We're talking later on with we got a couple of receivers. Where are they at? Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son.
Yeah.
So we can sway him. Roma Dunze. See if I can sway him. Dalton Kincaid, I don't think I can sway him. He's already obviously with the Bills, but I'll see if I can sway him. I'll see if we can make sure we don't get any tampering charges.
We're not trying to do any tampering. I'm just thinking along the lines of the NFL draft, in Detroit and everything. So it's like, I want your team to be successful drafting, because you guys could always use a top-notch wideout. Your defensive tackle could always be better.
Yeah.
You guys have tried, in the past drafting, but it hasn't worked out. But to me, the top position for the Chiefs they have to go after in the draft is absolutely wideout. Absolutely.
It has to
without
be.
a doubt.
As far as the 49ers, obviously you're a Niners guy. What position do you think the Niners are going to be looking at this year?
I mean, we could always improve on. I mean, Brock Purdy, he's developed so well. I would have to say we would need defensive tackle. We could always use that. We could always use middle linebackers, those sort of things. We could always use cornerbacks. Just throwing those things out there, because the Niners, we can always get better. We can always get better at every position. There's nothing wrong with improving on position wise.
Yeah. See the chat right here. Sean Browning says Julio Jones. No, man. I'm sorry. Let me actually get a little little look-see here. Where is Julio Jones? What he did this year? Again, I understand he joined late, joined the Eagles, had a couple of nice, decent games. I should say, had a couple of games with a few touchdowns.
He also was with the Titans also too. Don't forget.
I think at this point, what's he at now? What is his age? I don't know why it's not telling me on Pro Football Reference. He's probably 34. What did he put up this year? Let me go down. 2023. He had a grand total of 74 yards. 74. Year before, he had 299. Year before that, he had 434. Year before that, he had 771. Now, I get it. He's only played in 9 games, 10 games, 11 games. What does that tell you? He's 34 now.
Right.
He's going to be 35.
He's getting up there. He's getting up there for that, for that age, with wideouts.
I wouldn't even.
You wouldn't entertain the thought of going after him.
Wouldn't entertain a thought. Again, a great career. He's a Hall of Famer. Julio Jones ain't moving the needle for me. I would like the Chiefs to go after a. What's interesting is I think before Rashee Rice took off, I was sitting here saying wide receivers a much more important need. But I liken this to the rubber band effect.
Yeah.
The Chiefs spent so much draft capital defensively.
Yeah.
So much draft capital defensively.
That's where they concentrated the most, though.
And the defense is great, but you see the deficiencies now at wide receiver.
Yeah.
So my question is, don't put all your eggs in the wide receiver basket, because then what's going to happen? Rubber band.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're going to have deficiencies back on defense. It's a sprinkling. It's an act. This is the salary cap era. You will not be great at every single spot.
You gotta draft. Where you won't be limited to where if you put all your receivers in one basket, you try to draft, it's going to be a struggle. On the back end defensively, like you don't have all your defensive backs. If you try to just put your eggs in, like, okay, we got to draft a wide receiver, and then your defensive units will be low.
Yeah.
So, if you're a franchise, you got to try to be like, okay, where's our biggest need? How can we improve? From the previous year when it comes to win total, and go from there.
Yeah.
And you also have to look at if you have enough salary cap to do that. If you're a team that doesn't, then you have to look elsewhere.
Well, I do think this is what makes Brett Veach and the Chiefs so special. It's not just the high-level guys they've hit on.
Yeah. Mahomes,
Kelsey, Chris Jones, even L'Jarius Sneed, Nick Bolton.
Right.
Joe Tooney, obviously paying a guard that much in free agency. We all thought that was a joke, and now, not a joke, but you pay a guard that much, you're like, what's happening? He better be worth it, and he surprisingly has been worth it for a guard. Depth, though, to me, has been the biggest takeaway. Drew Tranquil, Willie Gay, Leo, Bolton, they've all been rotating in and out. You look at the defensive line, Mike Dana, I think, has been perpetually underrated. At one point, Turk Wharton had to play a big amount of snaps against the Ravens.
Right.
Like, I think depth has been the biggest need, or the biggest promise for the Chiefs team this season. You look at Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams. You look at, they were on their 4th safety. They went from, on the other side, Brian Cook. Brian Cook was a starter. Then you went to Mike Edwards. Then from Mike Edwards, you went to Shamari Connor. Connor, you went to Deion Bush, who Deion Bush had an interception against the Ravens. So you're sitting here going down the list, and I think depth, Nick Allegretti filling in for Joe Tooney. Like, depth to me, Wanya Morris filling in for Donovan Smith. That, to me, is the storyline of the season for the Chiefs this year.
What about Marquez Valdez-Scantling? What about him?
Yeah, I mean, MVS, playoff MVS is a real thing, man. Playoff MVS really steps up, and regular season was a struggle, but playoff MVS, now that is real.
Nate Boyer just hopped on in.
Nate Boyer.
What's up, y'all? How are you?
What's up, man?
Nate Boyer?
Yeah.
How
you
are
doing?
Good to meet you. What's your name?
Malcom. Nate.
Malcom.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you, dude.
Pleasure.
Sterling,
right on. Cheers.
Nate Boyer, Bronze Star recipient who deployed in both Iraq and Afghanistan with the elite U.S. Army Special Forces, a Texas Longhorn,
That's
Seattle
right.
Seahawk. What all you got going on right now?
Not playing football anymore, but my Niners are. So I grew up in the Bay Area, so I'm a Niner fan.
Niners
You a
guy
Niner
right
fan?
here.
Yes.
Let's go, baby.
Yes.
So about 8 years ago, right after I got cut, military had ended, got released from the Seahawks, and I co-founded an organization called Merging Vets and Players. So at MVP, we bring together combat vets and former pro athletes, and we help them find purpose and identity when they lose a uniform. So we've been doing that for the last 8 years, and then during COVID, we made a movie about it. You know, we shot a movie called MVP. So if you want to learn more about the organization, of course, go to vetsandplayers.org. We got our big gala coming up in April at the Star in Dallas, you know, with the Cowboys and whatnot. So that's April 13th.
Nice.
But also, just to learn more about an easy way to kind of get an idea of who we are and what we do is to go watch that movie. And that movie's on it's on Paramount Plus and Prime and Apple
good.
TV
I just
and all
got
that
Paramount
stuff.
Plus, so thank you.
Yeah, yes,
Thank you.
it's free if you got Paramount Plus.
Thank you.
I got Paramount Plus too.
It's like $3 or $4 if you got to rent it somewhere else. It's
Shout out to my
definitely worth
fiance
it.
for
but
that one.
It's cool. It's cool. Yeah, it's cool. But definitely check it out. It's really about how we started. It's a scripted movie, not a documentary, but Tony Gonzalez and Michael Strahan and Howie Long and Jay Glazer and Randy Couture, they all play themselves in the movie.
Yeah.
And then all these vets are playing veterans in the story too. Every vet portrayed on screen is played by a vet. So it's like a real authentic project. It's the first one I directed, and so that's really what I'm into now, and one of the things that I'm focused on doing is storytelling.
Your story has been one of strength, resilience. Walking on at Texas, that's nuts to me. This is a massive school, one of the best football programs in the country. How did you walk on and then get that opportunity? What even made you think I'm getting into football here?
You know what? So I never played growing up. That was the biggest thing. I never played, and I regretted it. I played baseball, I played basketball, and I was good but not great. Sure. Like I was the sixth man on the basketball team, pretty good baseball player, but no scholarship offers or anything.
Right.
And that sports were my thing. That was like what I loved. And I never played football, and I regretted it because it was my favorite sport. Like I grew up during that 49ers dynasty, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm transitioning off of active duty now. I was 29, and I was ready to go to college, and I was like, I'm just going to try out for the team and see what happens. So I prepared for it, I trained for it, and I went to University of Texas and went to the tryouts, and by the grace of God, I made the team. And then I was like, okay, now I got to find a way on the field. So safety wasn't happening. Wide receiver, I wasn't going to play. But long snapping, one of those thankless jobs that you got to be good at. You got to be consistent. You got to be accurate. But you don't get any glory. You do it right 500 times in a row, nobody cares. You screw it up once, your name's in the paper for all the wrong reasons.
Nate Boyer again.
Boyer.
Man, we appreciate it so much. Merging vets and players. I can't wait to check out the movie on Paramount
please do.
Plus.
I can't wait to check it out too.
And then it looks like we can go to www.vetsandplayers.org.
That's right.
That's where to go?
Vetsandplayers.org, yes, and to check out more about MVP. What's your sport?
I play basketball, bowling, track, and golf, Nate.
Awesome. What's your favorite? What's your best and what's your favorite?
My best is basketball, and my favorite is bowling.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So one of my best friends in Texas, guy I live with out in Austin, actually, I played football with his younger brother. His grandmother was the first woman, at least in the state of Texas, to bowl a 300 in a tournament. And so she's like a legendary bowler. Yeah, so he loves to bowl.
300 yet. I'm getting there.
You getting there? I believe it.
There. This will be my 18th year as a Special Olympics athlete, and it blows my mind like how much I've matured as an athlete and also a reporter. I did this last year, and I feel like I've gotten better this year compared to last year.
That's
Just
all
the
it's all it's
questions I've
about.
been asking, and I would love to ask you for your thoughts on the night. Okay.
I'm sorry, Malcolm. We
You're
have
good.
timing restraints. I'm
Real
sorry.
quick, what was it? Real quick.
X Factor for the Niners and Chiefs game on.
Oh,
Sunday.
X Factor, Niners and Chiefs.
Long snapper.
No, dude, it's the quarterbacks. Obviously it's Mahomes. It's hard to vote against Mahomes, but like Purdy being young and fresh, you never know. So that's the X Factor, I think. Can Purdy show up?
Awesome.
Thanks
Nate
for your
Boyer.
time, Nate.
No, thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Nate.
Nate Boyer right there.
too.
Phenomenal story. Appreciate also everyone in the chat. His story is phenomenal. It makes you guys check out that movie. That is going to be really, really cool. And also shout out to my fiance for making sure we have Paramount Plus. Coming up next, we have Puka Nacua. Feel bad we had to cut Nate Boyer a little short. Puka Nacua coming in right here. Man, Puka Nacua. Pepsi Zero Sugar NFL Rookie of the Year nominee right here. Puka, how are you?
Life is good. I'm living the dream.
All right, man. I got to start first. What does it feel like to be, again, Pepsi Zero Sugar NFL Rookie of the Year finalist?
It's such a blessing to be up there with CJ and a bunch of the other guys and the rookies who have been balling. It's been a huge blessing, but I think I got to add to my Pepsi. My Pepsi memorabilia. I got all the rookie belts and stuff like that, so I'm excited. I got a spot up there on my wall where this next award's about to go, so I'm ready for it.
Hey, Puka, I want to ask you, what are some of the things you've learned playing with Cooper Kupp? Were they big shoes to fill when he was hurt?
Definitely. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't say I was able to fill them exactly, but he's been the best. His ability to understand the defense and understand how wide receivers need to move in order to get open is unreal. And the knowledge that he has and is always willing to share makes playing the game of football and playing the position of wide receiver super fun.
How were you able to transition so seamlessly from college to the NFL? I mean, it's very difficult. I think a lot of guys struggle their first year, heck, sometimes into their second year. A lot of former, even all-time great wide receivers, it took 3 years before they start really getting their feet underneath them. How were you able to adjust so quickly?
You hit it just before in the question with Cooper Kupp and Matthew and Coach McVay. That three-headed monster of just these absolute football geniuses has made my life so easy. And then Matthew Stafford, I think of the guy who spins the ball. I can't think of a guy who really spins the ball better than him, and he does it so well. And every time I drop a pass and we look at it on the tape, it's like a perfect spiral. It hits me right in the middle of my chest, and it's not even any words. He just looks and I'm so sorry, Matthew. Like, I'll catch the ball, I promise. Like, please don't stop throwing the ball to me.
You get 100 and some targets, you're gonna drop one. Come on now.
Well, who was the toughest defensive back you faced in your first year?
Stephon Gilmore was a good, and Jair Alexander. I used to be a Packers fan, so that one was one that I had like kind of marked up on my schedule. It was like, man, I can't wait till we went to play in Lambeau Field, and my first catch was actually against Jair Alexander. So, but a lot of the DBs, those two are the first two that come to my mind.
Awesome.
As far as the actual differences from college to the NFL, I think a lot of times in college the whole thought process is defenses aren't necessarily trying to confuse you, right? Defenses are trying to, hey, we're trying to get in our spot and we're going to try and shut you down. The NFL, it's like, Spagnuolo's a great example for the Chiefs defensive coordinator. He tries to confuse you. What was that transition like in that aspect?
It was very hard of like not really understanding where guys are moving, and then trying to understand like how does the route that I'm running, how do I beat the defense, because they're trying to like the guys are they're giving all these dummy calls. They're like, hey, I got him, and then I snap and he's all the way on the other side of the field. I'm like, wait, what do you mean you had me? Where do I run my route now? I'm hesitating. Yeah, literally. So, but that's where I go back to guys like Matthew, especially Matthew. Like, he does a great job of being able to give us the cues for us to know what's going on. And then he never misses either. So it helps.
Where did you get the nickname Puka? Where did it come from?
It came from my grandma. My grandma came from Western Samoa, and Puka means chubby and fat. So as a baby, when I was the preschool bodyguard, I was out there making sure that everybody was good when they got in.
What makes you so hard to bring down? Because it's interesting. I mean, you're a big guy, obviously. Compared to me, you're a very big dude. But again, compared to some of the guys that are trying to bring you down, but yet you can't be brought down. The first guy never gets you. Like, every game I watch of you, two dudes bounce off and you're still going. Is it leg strength? Is it just contact balance? Have you always had that?
I would say I definitely I grew up in a physical household, so all my older brothers definitely put a lot of beating on me. So contact balance was something that I had to learn very early on, or I wasn't gonna last. But contact balance and then just speed. I think that if I have some momentum to hit somebody and you're going to try to hit me, I don't want to stop running, because hopefully I can put a little hurting on you too.
You played Pop Warner with Dana White's son. Do you have any memories of playing with him?
Our team we were the best. Dana was our quarterback. I don't think we threw the ball twice, so we were out right and running the ball down everybody's throat. So our defense was loaded, and then Dana would always get the Peyton Manning clip of the slowest QB rollout touchdown. Like right. that was Dana. We'd go left, right, and we'd maybe throw a slant, and then right as we got to the goal line and they were sending everybody to the house, we'd have Dana slipping out the back door for a touchdown.
Who was the toughest defensive back you went up against this year?
Between Can I give it to one of our own guys? I would say Trey Thomas. I think of our Killer Witherspoon of guys who like I got to go and practice against all the time because like they know all my moves. Like they for 18 weeks they're like, okay, if I'm pressed, Puka's gonna go left, right, and I'm gonna stick him right here in the chest.
Last question I got for you, Puka. What's the best advice Matthew Stafford has given you?
One play at a time. I think that one play at a time, because whether you catch a 70-yard touchdown or you drop a 2-yard slant, that next play is going to be just as big as that play before. So the ability to reset was something huge, because confidence is a big part of the game. So one play at a time.
Do you have a Mount Rushmore all-time wide receivers?
I do. I don't know if this will get me in trouble, but I go Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, Terrell Owens, and Randy Moss.
Oh, that's a great one.
I got big guys. Yeah, that's right. That's right. The modern guys and stuff, that a lot of those guys are big receivers who can still kind of do it all. So that's what. That's my guys.
Did you ever model your game after someone?
Julio Jones is actually my favorite receiver to watch. Even though I was a Packers fan, Jordy Nelson and Devontae Adams, obviously they had great receivers, but Julio Jones, being somebody that big and his ability to move like a smaller receiver and run every single route, that's my guy right there.
Did you have a favorite player growing up?
Aaron Rodgers. Everybody in my family wore number 12. So at some point, number 12, and I seen that guy when spinning it the way he does, and just his confidence when he walks out there on the field. I was like, I want to be like that guy.
Was there ever a guy that when you got into the NFL, you were a little starstruck by? You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm playing either with or against this guy.
I still think it's crazy that me and Aaron Donald on the same team. Like it does that to be on the field and on the team and associate with one of the greatest, if not of all time in his position, one of the best football players to ever touch the field. It still doesn't hit me, but he's the man. It's crazy. 99, the GOAT, man.
Again, we are here with Puka Nacua. Oh, Pepsi Zero Sugar NFL Rookie of the Year finalist, nominee right here. You got some for Puka here, Malcolm?
Yes.
Oh, let's go.
We got something for you, Puka.
Oh, let's go. Yes, Sirski. Appreciate you. Let's go.
And it's an XL, which is my size.
Look at that, Malcolm. You even knew his size.
Precision.
It takes precision indeed.
100%.
Puka, really do appreciate your time, man. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Hopefully you get this.
I hope you get Pepsi Zero Sugar NFL Rookie of the Year.
Me too. Tell that to CJ if you ever see him.
We'll let him know. We'll let him know for
Thanks,
you.
Puka.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Oh, man. That is awesome.
That was
what
awesome.
an incredible year. Thank you so much,
Thanks so
Puka.
much.
Thank you, man. What an incredible dude, Puka Nacua. That right there.
Puka Nacua was amazing.
It's all about, man. I mean, seriously, as a
You're
rookie,
welcome.
doing what he did is historic,
Right.
man. I mean, great guy on the field, great guy off the field. If you look at the numbers that he put up this year, they are astounding. 105 receptions, 1,486 yards, 6 touchdowns. His game in the postseason, 181 yards.
Incredible.
Puka Nacua is historically good. One more time from Hunter. Maybe text me what you said, because I can't read lips. I don't have the read. I will look back. I'm the one messed up.
What's
so
up, Alex?
yes, we are
We
wrong.
are.
How you doing, man?
What's up, Vince? Malcolm, nice to meet you.
A lot of fun right here. Again, Radio Row, it's packed. You never know who's going to stop by.
Yeah.
Never know who's going to stop by, baby.
Absolutely.
Man, this honestly is
This-
a lot of
this is
fun.
amazing.
Puka Nacua that was. It's always fun when guys are entertaining. It's always fun when guys want to be here. You can tell Puka Nacua wanted to be here.
He did.
And he enjoys it. It's also fun when you have
I would have to say he's my favorite one so far we've done, and we still got more to come.
just so entertaining. Hunter, quick question. Yeah. Question for you, Hunter. Do you want to give this to Michael Penix? Okay.
How you doing, Michael?
Hey, Michael. How you doing, man? Good.
Sir.
I'm Sterling. This is my guy Malcolm right here.
How you doing, Michael?
Great, Michael. How are you?
I'm
Thanks
great.
for asking. I'm wonderful.
All right, let's start first, man. What was your experience like in the college football playoffs? This had to be such a absolute dream come true. It had to be crazy. Being one of the 4 best teams in college football, what was that like?
Man, it was amazing. You know, a blessing to be a part of it. You know, because especially our route there, you know, it was bumpy. You know, it took a lot of hard work and determination to continue to keep pushing forward. And we were the underdogs a lot, so to be able to, you know, show them that, you know, we belonged, it was an amazing experience.
So, Michael, I want to ask, what traits in a quarterback do you think are the most important?
I feel like leadership. You know, leadership's qualities is definitely very important. And, you know, you got to compete. You know, you got to be somebody that's willing to compete and do whatever it takes to win football games.
Before we get into some more football questions, I know you're working with Sharpie right here. That's a great little tracksuit you got rocking right there. I wouldn't mind rocking that myself, honestly.
Man, it's nice.
What are you doing with Sharpie?
Yeah, so I'm partnering with Sharpie, you know, the rookie class, you know, basically the pen. So it's the Sharpie S-Gel pen. You know, you'll see it right here. You know, the biggest thing that I like about it is just the no smear, no smudge, you know, especially for a lefty, you know, signing autographs and stuff like that, you know. That's big time for me. You know, I'm always put in a great position, you know, but I'll be signing my rookie contracts with the pen as well. So I'm super excited
well, it's good. You
for
don't
the
want your
partnership.
hand. See, I'm going to get it on my hand. I need to get the new Sharpie pen right there.
You need to. You got to get it.
Oh, yeah, look at this. See?
You got to get it.
Boom.
Yes, sir.
That's a good toss. That's a Michael Penix Jr. toss right there. That right there was impressive.
Hey, Michael, speaking of quarterbacks, did you look up to any quarterbacks growing up?
Yeah, growing up, I looked up to Mike Vick, you know, as a lefty quarterback as well. You know, he was definitely somebody that I looked up to, and he did a lot of great things for the sport. So, yes, sir.
When it comes to your draft position, do you have I mean, I know you can't say what team you hope drafts you, but do you have a certain things that you want an organization to have?
I just want the opportunity. You know, I feel like as long as I got the opportunity, you know, I'll be able to make something happen. You know, and I trust in my abilities and the things that I can do on the field. So once I get the opportunity, I'll make the most out of it.
Your production exploded after transferring. What was the difference going from Indiana to Washington?
You know, I'll just say I definitely gained a lot of confidence, you know, throughout my years, and, you know, just playtime experience, you know, but also being able to have an off season, you know, being able to be healthy, you know, throughout 2 years, you know, that was definitely the biggest thing, and that definitely accounted for a lot of the success that I had.
Yeah, how hard was that for you? I know you tore your ACL your freshman year?
Freshman year and my redshirt sophomore year, so junior year.
Yeah,
Wow.
what was that like for you? I mean, obviously you're not giving up on football, but do you ever have any doubt to that point where you're like, am I ever going to get fully healthy again? How do you learn to trust your knee ever again as well?
Yeah, I'd say my faith, you know, just continue to keep my faith, you know, but it definitely did get hard at times. And, you know, I did have a lot of hard moments, you know, that I had to overcome, you know, but now I look back on it and I'm like, man, it was worth it. You know, I'm super blessed to be in the position I am in today, and I'm super excited for my future.
What advice would you have, Michael, for a high school player when it comes to the NIL opportunities?
I would say don't chase the money. You know, I feel like, you know, as far as NIL, it's definitely a great thing to have, you know, but I feel like the most money you're ever going to see is in the NFL, you know, so I feel like instead of chasing the money, I feel like chasing your dreams. You know, don't forget about your dreams, and don't forget the reason why you started playing football in the first place. And you know, because if you get caught up in the money and get put in a bad situation where you can't really live out your future, then the money that you get for NIL is not going to account to what you can get at the next level.
Obviously, being left-handed is a very unique for a quarterback, right? I mean, there's obviously been a few. You have Steve Young. You mentioned like Tua Tagovailoa, Matt Leinart comes to mind. But what unique challenges did that bring you from high school to college, and as your way into the NFL? Did teams have to adjust for you being left-handed? Did anyone try to make you throw right-handed when you were young?
Nah, so I didn't really have much challenges. You know, the biggest thing for lefties is like rolling out. The coach, he might want to make me only roll out to the left instead of to the right.
Yeah.
But you know, growing up, I'm always like, hey, coach, I can do it both ways. You know, I want to show that, you know, I can make any throw, and I could do it, no matter what. So I didn't really have too much challenges, except for just hearing that we throw it weird, but, but I don't know.
Do you have any thoughts on the Niners and Chiefs matchup on Sunday?
I feel like it's going to be a great game. For me, it's hard to bet against Pat Mahomes, but I feel like it'll be super excited to see what Brock Purdy can do with that team that he has, and the guys that he have around him. But it's hard to bet against Mahomes.
Yeah. Do you have a Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks in all time? I don't want to say one because everyone goes Brady. Come on now.
Yeah. So I'll say Brady, Aaron Rodgers. For me, Mike Vick. Peyton Manning is up there. I'm saying the people that I've seen play. I'm not talking about before me.
Right.
Yeah. Man, who am I missing? I don't know.
Mahomes, baby.
Oh, Pat Mahomes. Yeah, of course. Pat
Mahomes.
Mahomes. He's definitely up there. He's goated.
I know we're talking to Rome a little bit later on today. If a team reaches out, what would you say about Rome?
Man, you're going to get a special player, a guy that, truly loves the game and loves the people around him. He's a very unselfish player, a player that's going to work extremely hard, each and every day, no matter what the competition level is, as far as practice, we're in workouts, you're going to get the same guy each and every day. And obviously his talents on the field, they speak for itself.
What is your hope for the type of team that drafts you?
I just hope for an opportunity, and just hope that I can gain the trust of the guys around me, and once I'm able to do that, I know I'll be able to win football games. I've been able to do that, at a high level, throughout my career, and I look forward to doing that for the rest of my career.
When it comes to Washington, what's interesting is they've been known as a cornerback powerhouse for a long time, right? How did those guys going up against them in practice every single day help you? I mean, they literally have so many corners. They're secondary from Marcus Peters back in the day. Obviously, you can go against him,
Right.
Trent McDuffie, but they do a great job getting their corners ready for the next level. Do you think that those guys helped prepare you going against a great secondary in Washington every single day in practice?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the whole defense, they definitely did a lot of great things, and man, it's definitely a special place. Like you mentioned all the guys that came out as corners, man. You got a lot of defensive backs that came out of there. You got a lot of good quarterbacks that came out of there as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess you can account to that, but I definitely had a lot of talent around me as well, and the coaching is amazing. So
If you could throw to, and again, not saying this is you picking the team, if you could pick to throw to one receiver next year, who would it be?
to one receiver,
You get to pick one guy that you can throw past to.
Yeah, one guy.
Who would
I
it
can
be?
only pick one.
Yep.
A
Only
dream,
one.
like a dream receiver.
Like a dream receiver.
Since we spoke about Rome, I'll say Rome.
Come on, that's a cop out now, Mike. Come on, don't do me like that.
Hey, man. You
Yeah,
asked.
I know. Throughout history, have you ever looked up to just your favorite player? I know you said Mike Vick, but outside of quarterback, just favorite players in general.
In general, I would say I really like Lamar Jackson. I like what he does at the quarterback position. I'll say Lamar Jackson. Trying to think of all that I've seen. Reggie Bush in his prime was great. And Devin Hester, I used to watch him just for kick returns. I played with him on Madden just so I could try to run kick returns back. Man, it's so much talent out there. I don't know. It's a lot. I can name. I'll be here naming for forever. It's a lot of.
As far as obviously beating Texas in the college football semifinal, what was that like? Because you played out of your mind. Watching you against Texas, watching you against Oregon both times, you were just so dialed in. Every single throw was right on the money. I mean, it was truthfully very impressive. Were you just in the zone those games? Because, I mean, Texas is known for having a great defense, and
Right.
you just shredded them.
Yeah, I feel like I guess I was in the zone, and then at the same time, also just the preparation, the piece of it. I feel like we were super prepared for those games, and we went out there and executed at a high level.
Yeah. Again, Michael Penix Jr. heading to the NFL, baby. Heading to the
Yes,
NFL.
sir.
Before I let you go again, one more time, what you got rocking with Sharpie?
Yeah, so Sharpie, you know, I partner with Sharpie, you know, as far as, you know, the rookie class deal, you know, so I'll be using the Sharpie S-Gel pen for my rookie contracts and, you know, multiple contracts from here on out, you know, and they've been, it's amazing because just the no bleed thing, you know, like I was saying, you know, with the lefties, you know, it's amazing, you know, so it's a high performance pen, you know, that, you know, a lot of people use at a professional level, and, you know, I'm super excited to be a part of it.
Hey, gotta rock one now. See, you can't mess up the white, yes,
yes,
the
sir.
white collar shirts. Yeah,
it won't mess it up.
I'm with you. Hey, Michael, really appreciate the time, man.
Michael, appreciate you today. Thanks
Yes,
for your
sir.
time, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
Sir.
Michael Penix Jr., quarterback
Penix Jr.
from Washington. Awesome, man.
Awesome.
Projected first-round draft pick. Played just phenomenal in all season long, man. Those games against Oregon, again, that game against game against Texas, he was so dialed in. Every single throw was completely
Even the game against
on
Utah.
the money. Yeah, it was wild, man.
Yeah.
He's a guy almost like a microwave. When he gets hot,
Yeah.
it gets hot.
And don't forget about the game against the Cougars in the Apple Cup.
That's very true.
Yeah,
All right,
the
Malcolm,
rivalry.
this was a lot of fun. This was a blast today, a blast this morning with you. We are going to take a break.
I actually got one more. Maggie Gray. Oh, we're good?
Yeah, Malcolm, we're done. What, you try and give him more? We've talked enough today, baby. We'll take a break, and we'll be back.
Later on this afternoon.
Later on, Malcolm. We'll be
Later
back.
on.
Until then, we are out.
Out.